Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. 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 Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo.
Sitting in a 4v3.
Everfrog Esports trying to find what angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a wall. We're gonna take flag. White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
Beast Mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Oh. Santi getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Saga4 is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick under Leaky. They're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. Blue manages to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio.
That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Start the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The 4th one as well. Do they get the 8? They get the 8.
All right, everybody, welcome back to one final game here in the EU Console Open tier for Season 14. The grand finals are upon us. Smelvin Industries versus Lunar Falcons for everything.
An entire season, you had the regular season, you had the mid-season tournament, it all cultivates down to this. Truly the 2 parts of it, the 2 teams that are left standing at the top here, Smelvin Industries, Lunar Falcons, both vying for that title and just everything that goes along with it.
Yeah, and I mean, real quick, we will delve into this matchup here very, very soon. But first, we're going to, talk about our GOATS tournament coming up here from January 4th to the 12th. It's not all of those days, but the weekend of the 4th and the weekend of the 11th for the CGL GOATS tournament coming up. Should be a lot of fun. Get signed up as soon as you can. They are open now, so yeah, that GOATS tournament right around the corner. But what's even closer is this matchup between 2 teams that, Lunar Falcons haven't exactly been around for a super long time. Smelvin Industries has. They've been, at or near the top for the past 3 or 4 seasons now, right? Top 6, top 4 every season. Smelvin's getting better, and now they finally have their opportunity to cement their legacy, cement themselves at the top. And Lunar Falcons, they struggled a little bit earlier in the bracket, but now they've got their opportunity to do exactly the same. But it's not the only grand finals that's happening today, Mega.
No, later on this evening, we do have big T-Tar fan 600 going up against Squirt Squad. So that'll be an interesting finals, on the NA side of things to look at. I think that's the master or the Grandmaster tier. Sorry if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, just focusing back in on the Smelvin game, you hit the nail right on the head. Smelvin, they've collected a lot of those different placements here. A few second places in that trophy cabinet as well, but never the grand prize itself. We take a look at our bracket here. It tells you how we ended up here. Smelvin getting to come through the lower bracket or the upper bracket, and Lunar Falcons instead having to make a bit of a dip to the lower bracket. Dispatch budget approve. But realistically, right, this is going to be such a dynamic matchup. The last time these teams faced off, throughout the regular season, right, there was a lot of Malga metas, a lot of different types of brawl and things like that. And looking through at that regular season as well, right, like Lunar Falcons, perfect in the regular season, 8-0 record. Nobody could defeat them. But when it comes to these playoff matches, they fumbled in the midseason. They started to fumble here. Luckily, that lower bracket was there to catch them this time around. But now there is no do-over. There is no reset. You have to leave it all on the line.
Yeah, and you look at that Smelvin Industries run in the upper bracket. It wasn't easy, right? And some of these tournaments, it actually the parity has been much closer this season across the board. But there are often times where you just make this upper bracket run look so damn easy, right? Smelvin, they get their job done, and even if it's not the cleanest, even if it's a little bit messy here and there, I mean, a 3-2 in the first round and a 3-1 in the upper finals. It was not the smoothest that it possibly could have gone, but Smelvin has been here, done that, right? They've been here for a long time as a team. Most of these players, as we get a look at them right now, have been on this team for a very, very long time. There are a couple of newer faces that have come around this season, as you look at someone like Seedza and Seb, but the core of Smelvin, Maury, Jacob, and Robbie Hash, they have been around keeping this team competitive at the height of the console open tier for a long time now.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I remember when I first joined, getting to cast CGL matches, them going up against teams like AFMT and things like that constantly, trying to, muscle their way through. But this team, like you said, they've evolved, they come through over time. Meanwhile, the flip side of that coin, Lunar Falcons, new to this season, comes in with a lot of good talent, though. You have Otter Zombie's been a phenomenal DPS line. Lex on the tank, of course, being reliable as always. Then you have Izuyu and Let's Be My Fan in that backline here. But this Lunar Falcon squad, they are a little bit untested, right? When you come in new, that's why their regular season record, it looks so good. But these high pressure matches, this is where they're always going to struggle. They don't have the same amount of reps as some of these other players on Smelvin who have been here for years and years. So that's going to be the main thing we look at, right? The mental back and forth here, because these series, they're going to be longer. They're going to be the most intense that you could ever play in the game of Overwatch. So you have to be ready, and you have to be able to withstand anything that comes your way.
Yeah, and I mean, being a little bit green, it's never easy, right? Lunar Falcons, they have shown us what they can do, who they can be. They are a great team, but they're a great team that, like you said, hasn't seen a whole lot of these super, super high pressure places. And now they get their opportunity to cement themselves, to prove that they can win these big games. And in these big games, we've got to start somewhere. Smelvin Industries coming through the upper bracket, our first map selection from them. Of course, it's going to be Lijiang Tower. And as we see this, okay, we can see the lobby, so we're questioning this.
Yeah,
Lijiang Tower
this is just
actually
wrong.
not going to be map number 1. It's going to be Antarctic Peninsula. But I'll be honest with you, the same principles still apply. Very, very rush-heavy map. It's going to be, if I have to guess, Orisa. I don't expect to see a whole lot of Malga anymore. He's just a little bit worse than he was, but Orisa getting those buffs in, comparison with the slight nerfs that Malga got, push her over the edge. So that's kind of what I expect with the Juno Brig, or I guess Lucio Bap will work too.
Yeah, ultimately it's going to be about the survivable backline here. And like you said, the Orisa kind of becoming the forefront in the meta. You're still seeing a little bit of Junker Queen, some teams stuck in their ways trying to run the Malga here. But, highlighting the difference, having Antarctic Peninsula be the map instead of Lijiang, right? Lijiang, you are actually able to switch up your comps a little bit. Antarctic Peninsula across all 3 sub-maps, as we are starting on the sub-level here, it's going to be brawl. It's going to be this hard face-to-face brawl, and as you're seeing, both teams, they're ready to mirror this Lucio Bap style. We haven't seen in a bit, so we'll have to see if these supports are really ready to make a difference.
All right, the only difference is the Venture versus the Genji. We will see as Salix trying to play it safe down on the low ground, getting some pressure put onto them, not able to push up into the Smelvin Industries team just yet, trying to find anything that they can to break through the line. You see that Seed's going to drop down to the point to put some pressure on it, try and get the flip, but the first pick going to come through from Mori on to Zombie. Celix trying to get in, get aggressive, but Mori has found a second. Without Jacob in this fight, though, there is still an opportunity here for Lunar Falcons to win, but with Izia going down, yeah, going to be a resounding Smelvin Industries victory.
Yeah, being able to take that first fight, but you saw how long this fight dragged on, right? And I feel like that's both these teams are looking for their opening. Smelvin, a little bit of a different approach. Having the Venture in play, it's punishing how grouped up Lunar Falcons wants to be, and absolutely what Venture's capable and great at. So Otter's going to have to find a way to get some pressure onto this backline to really maximize the value Genji can bring in these fights.
All right, just a little bit of a poke in posture duel here. Not looking super aggressive, but Jacob knocked off the high ground. Could be an opportunity here for Lunar Falcons, and they will push across the side, but the Amp Matrix in from Seb going to be a very annoying thing to deal with as they try to push forward. Drop down to the point now. Celix not landing that spear on to the bat, but Mori, and a second for Mori here with 2 railguns. Seb will clean up Celix in spite of the Terra Surge, and Smelvin Industries retain.
And I mean, that's beautiful for Smelvin, right? You just traded 2 ultimates for the one here, being able to trade the Amp Matrixes out, as well as getting the Terra Surge on top of it in a lost fight. Something you might want back now. Depending on how long this fight takes for Lunar Falcons, Smelvin Industries, they could drag it out and then just heavily ult dump into what could be their final fight to take the point.
75% now. Quarter of the point remain. Is Ezio tries to get aggressive, but has to drop down. Sound Barrier may need to come down. No, the Immortality Field good to keep Lunar Falcons up. Now Sound Barrier for Engage, as the Overclock will come out from Zombie as well. Sound Barrier is the answer from Robbie Hash here. Jacob getting pushed into the backline, but somehow, some way, keeping that tank alive is Seb and Robbie. Now Seedza gets dashed through. There will be a trade on a Let's Be My Fan as the Dragon Blade gets pulled by Otters, who will cut down Robbie Hash and Jacob, and Lunar Falcons will stay alive.
It sucks that you had to invest that blade for Otters, but, I absolutely see why, right? You want to guarantee clean up that fight. You can't risk it flipping the other way, because Smelvin is one of those teams that they still could dig themselves in there and they can hold out. Coming into this next one, you have a lethal combo with Seb and Mori. This Amplification Matrix plus the Overclock means that Lunar, they're going to have to be aware of their positioning. They're going to have to be able to stay out of line of sight of this Baptiste window, but they might not get the option.
Ooh, very far forward is that Amp Matrix from Seb, and there is a good job here to kite that Amp Matrix. Now Overclock from Mori, looking for the headshots, and they're connecting like hell onto this Orisa. Unfortunately, that Fortify for Mori, more than enough to keep that away. As Jacob tries to find something. Oh, Zombie surviving with a sliver of HP, but Celix just getting way too aggressive in this fight, and that's going to cost Lunar Falcons, assumingly, this entire submap.
Yeah, I mean, you're a risk. You can't make a play like that. The insane over-aggression immediately punished. Terra Surge, sure, you feel immortal. You get the 4-5 buffs on Orisa, but you definitely can be chunked out of it, especially if everybody escapes your range. So, bit of a misstep there for Lunar Falcons tank, but that's just simply the first sub-map here, so they have time to start to recuperate. Now that we're on some of these more outdoor points, I feel like the Genji definitely can fare a whole lot better, simply because you don't have to stay as grouped up or clumped together. There is a little bit of space to be able to take across the high ground here, as well as just overall in general on the lab. So as we go throughout the map, I think you're going to be seeing Seeds try to find more value on this venture, but it's going to be difficult because, again, Lunar Falcons, they seem to want to switch things up, be a little bit more split.
All right, Laboratories here. Second sub-map of Antarctic Peninsula here. Lunar Falcons on the Diva. We'll see if this adaptation is going to work out for them here as Jacob gets aggressive. They're going to meet on this high ground. Spear out, will not connect to a target there. I believe it was actually eaten by the D.Va, as Jacob is still trying to find something with this spam, but nothing really being given over by Lunar Falcons just yet. Even with a slightly faster comp, they do not want to do something they might regret, and unfortunately for Smelvin, the exact thing is going to happen. Jacob falls early, and there will be some aggression here from the Venture, but not going to be enough for Smelvin to win the fight.
Yeah, and that focus fire onto the Orisa, very good, but also you seeing it from Zelix on the D.Va now, being able to be a little bit of that peel demon we know D.Va to be, being able to sort of apply that defense matrix over anybody who comes under fire, and allowing them to live just that little bit longer needed in these fights, and that could be the difference maker.
All right, great healing coming out from Seb. I mean, very, very close on this ult charge between these Baptistes as well. Nothing really coming up across the board except for those amp matrices, but Salix with an early pick onto Robbie Hash, going to be unfortunate for Smelvin. They do get rid of the D.Va mech, and Mori has got something to say about this fight being over, and even without one of their players, Smelvin Industries will be able to take the win in the fight.
Smelvin is so good at that style, right? Where they can lose a member but still see the winnable opportunities in the fight because of the damage they've dealt building up to that. Being able to remove the D.Va mech essentially nullifies the tank, even with Selec still being on the field. Now, heading into this next fight, we already seeing Seb having this amplification matrix. Let's be my fan. Not too far off of it here, but these are going to be the deciding factors in where they're placed.
All right, well, amp matrix down on the point, and Izuya quickly dispatched, and without their Lucio, Lunar Falcons will just hard bail here.
I mean, bail as hard as they can, right? Without your speed boost, it is going to be hard for some of these members to be able to get out in a safe manner. That's why you see Selex being a little bit pushed forward, trying to, zone, make sure nobody's pressured as they wait for the Lucio to return as they have now.
Izuya returns to the fight. 5 ultimates up now for Lunar Falcons. Just about 4 for Smelvin. There's the Amp Matrix out. Sound barrier down from Robbie Hash, but it's not going to be able to keep Seb in this fight. We're going to see the sound barrier out from Izuya as a response to all the ultimates being invested by Smelvin. And, I mean, Jacob just chilling below 100 HP. And Otters gets killed out of Dragon Blade. Mori and Seedza do not want to give this up, but it will be taken.
Yeah, and the mistake of not giving this up when you did for Smelvin is that entire time Lunar Falcons is in control of the point. So now they've already caught up in your percentage meter. Looking towards the ult bank here, it's just going to be an overclock versus this D.Va bomb. But interestingly enough, Jacob now actually has mirrored the D.Va on the other side. So this might allow Mori a little bit more safety in using this overclock, knowing the defense matrix there in case anybody wants to try to focus them down and remove them.
Back up to the high ground. Trying to go in here for Jacob on that D.Va. Now the overclock from Mori to start this fight out. Knows where a couple of these players are, but great pressure from Selix to deny the space from Mori. Keep them off of that backline. Now, pressure being put onto Selix. Does have that self-destruct, should they so choose to use it to get back into mech. 91%, the flip comes through for Smelvin. The fight needs to happen now. If Lunar Falcons win this fight, there's a very good chance that they win this map. Otters with some poke, trying to keep their attention on these big value players, but the immortality field gone, and Otters so damn low and dead, and now Lunar Falcons just need to get out.
I mean, yeah, they ultimately do just need to get out here. You're missing those 2 key parts, and they will indeed. But now they're going to be pushing into another amp matrix. The longer the fight goes, you're guaranteed to get a tectonic shot and a sound barrier here. Smelvin has a lot of tools to potentially lock this up here due to Lunar Falcons just giving up the point.
And Lunar Falcons also in, the ult economy still sitting very well. Otter's going to go in on the backline. Mori under heavy duress, but the healing comes through, and Jacob will be removed from the mech. Self-destruct to get right back in it, though, as Zombie looking for something with this overclock. Gets the slide, gets away. Needs one thing and does get that. Does end up getting traded there by Jacob on that D.Va. So 1-for-1 trade, but it's still looking like Lunar Falcons are going to be able to win out this sub-map here. Otters now on the Tracer, having switched to get back and touch the point. Going on a tear in the backline, and that Venture will crash back to the ground, but not before it will be Lunar Falcons cap.
I mean, that was just the pick you needed to get there, right? Removing the Baptiste from the fight meant that, sure, you gave up your Sojourn, but you had the better healing so you could weather the storm. Smelvin Industries, their health bar simply unable to recuperate with just a Lucio healing. And that's no fault of the Lucio player. That's just the name of the character. So, little bit unsteady, but Lunar Falcons does secure that map here. Now, as we're heading out to Icebreaker for our final round, Smelvin, they're sticking with this composition, trying to play this Venture, but now Lunar Falcons across this sub point will probably be able to play even more split up, so the Venture's going to struggle more and more to keep finding value as everybody else is just taking off angles, almost assembling a dive comp if it weren't for this Baptiste.
Icebreaker to decide Antarctic Peninsula. We head in here as Smelvin Industries tries to find the targets that they want to jump on, and it looks like they have Robbie Hash getting rid of the immortality field. And yeah, that grouping up problem doesn't seem to be one at all for Seedza as they get in, find so much damage onto this backline, and Smelvin will be able to get this first flip.
And that's just a misplay from Lunar Falcons right now, understanding your own composition, everybody funneling themselves. It's almost like sort of imploring Seedza to come through and just ruin your entire day. So everybody having to try to take these off angles. Seems like Otter's under pressure right now, but you need to do more of this, take some map space for your team.
All right, Stelix on the low ground, looking for an opportunity as Otters is putting some pressure in the back line on this Tracer, looking for something. Jacob very, very low. That healing going to come through. As that Fortify fades away, going to be a little bit more vulnerable. Seb working to keep that Orisa in this fight, but unfortunately, without those cooldowns, that Orisa just going to explode. And now, as Robbie Hash falls, it will be Lunar Falcons being able to come in and grab this fight.
Being able to sort of, like you said, grab that fight here now, looking forward to the next one here. Lunar Falcons, potentially Otters could shut down a fight before it begins with a well-placed pulse bomb, but you have to keep in mind these supports, right? Lucio, nice little buff to the sound barrier means that there is worlds where he can get the sound barrier off if needed to try to save a teammate, as, yep, Otter's pulse bomb right there was reflected by the other ability, the immortality field.
Yep, Sev able to answer that ability as the Selix going to get back into mech. Now Ant Matrix out from Seb, and overclock from Zombie. And, Robbie Hash trying to keep this fight going for Smelvin with that sound barrier does get that job done very, very well. And with Selix and Zombie losing their lives here, it will be Smelvin coming back in, and they're going to take the lead right back very soon.
Being able to take the lead, like you said. And now Smelvin Industries, they have the opportunity to keep it working here as Mori with this overclock. And look at his scouting, able to find Otters. That's beautiful.
Yeah, but Seb is down. That is so much healing out of the picture for Smelvin Industries, and they are really feeling it. Everybody falls over as Zombie cleans up 3, and Lunar Falcons taking it right back.
Taking it right back, this back and forth gameplay. It's what we expect to see in these sorts of situations here. But, again, a little bit of overinvestment. Lunar Falcons having to dump a lot in now gives Smelvin an opportunity. But they've had trouble connecting with these ults before, so we'll have to see if they can actually make sure they find the value they're looking for.
Well, here's the Tectonic Shock. Not really finding what Seedza was looking for. Does get the damage to help to take down Izia and the Immortality Field. Selix going to use the self-destruct to get back into mech, and will not get back into mech, but they will be able to take it down Mori with it. So it will just, add a little bit of percentage as Smelvin Industries will take back over.
Taking back over the back and forth here. But again, look at how much just got thrown in. It was both those DPS ults finally finding value combined with the Terror Surge. Exactly what needed to happen here. Now, we're ticking past 75%. You're entering this one fight and then a stall fight territory after the fact for both of these teams. Not a lot to work with. You're mainly looking at the sound barrier from Robbie Hash to give everybody on Smelvin an extra boost in survivability. But Lunar Falcons are just going to have to find raw pick potential.
Pressure onto the point now, as Otters puts that pressure in the back line, a little bit split from the team, but as the Tracer does, Zombie with an excellent pick onto Seb, sound barrier from Robbie Hash to try and keep this fight going. The trades are coming through. It's 2 for 3 here, and Lunar Falcons will take back the flip. But do they want to give this up? They will in the end.
Yeah, I mean, they have to, right? And now with Seeds missing here, this could be absolutely disastrous. Somebody has to come through and get this touch just to stall it to try to get members back in time. They risk having to charge directly into an Ant Matrix.
Yeah, right behind the Ant Matrix as Seb goes over to the Juno, not going to amount to much there. Otters claiming one more with the Pulse Bomb. And as soon as they clean up Mori on this Tracer, that will do it. Lunar Falcons strike first on Antarctic Peninsula, getting the 2-1 victory on this map. But it was as close as that scoreline can ever say. I believe it was basically 99-100 on all 3 maps.
Yeah, I mean, it was truly a back and forth affair here, but it seems like the Orisa composition, it was struggling at points. Smelvin, they just hard locked themselves to this meta. They refused to adapt in any way that they needed to. And that just sort of allowed Lunar Falcons to find their opportunities with this sort of off-meta dive that they were running, get any and everything that they needed going. And it looked absolutely amazing for them. You know, again, not the cleanest execution, still having to go back and forth blow for blow. I mean, that last map, Icebreaker, we saw that point flip. I couldn't even count how many times, but that should already
I think
tell
it was
you.
every single fight.
Yeah, it truly was just a back and forth affair. But I mean, that's the point, right? We're in a grand finals. These two teams can go back and forth like this time and again here. And now with Smelvin having map pick again, I'm just interested to see where we're going to end up going.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to run this Orisa comp even more, there's going to be a lot of options to do it on, but can anybody guess what that option is in a free open map pool? Can anybody guess where Smelvin wants to take us to run a rush comp on map number 2? Put your money down right now. It's King's Row. It's King's Row. No surprises really. Having said that, the composition that Lunar Falcons was running, that Diva comp, can still work on King's Row, especially early and late on first and third. The high ground control is so important on those maps. But it's pretty clear what Smelvin intends to do coming in here to King's Row. They're gonna stay on this rush composition, and I doubt that there's gonna be much that can make them get off that.
No, I mean, this is what they want to play. I'm just curious if they're going to keep playing it with the Venture, right? Because, again, Lunar Falcons, they were able to pick up on that and just play a little bit less grouped up. That way it wasn't as punishing as, something that had to occur. Maybe here on King's Row, I mean, it forces a little bit of a grouping situation, especially on point B, right? That streets phase, really to take fights as a team, you're going to have to go through and be clumped up together as you're moving. But overall, it is going to be a difficult situation for the side of Smelvin, right? Because on that point A, there's a lot of high ground to control, so you're going to have to either opt into the dive or your rotations are going to have to be really on point to move everybody and not create an isolated target for Lunar Falcons to capitalize on with this dive.
And I mean, this is technically a dive, this Diva comp, but I'm not really sure like what the long-term goal. I don't know what the Baptiste provides in this composition, I'll be honest with you, for Lunar Falcons. It kind of feels like it's a go comp for them, and Baptiste doesn't tend to go at all. Prefers to stay in one spot. So I'm curious if that is going to be an adaptation coming in from Lunar Falcons from the Baptiste perspective. I can't guarantee that, obviously, because they did commit to it on Antarctic Peninsula. This map is a little bit more conducive to running an Ana, I feel like, though. But the Baptiste does control and command a lot of respect on the high ground, can just jump up there. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's like a dive or a rush comp. It kind of feels like a blend of mishmash, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, right? With this sort of mishmash composition, and it's so it's such a different sort of thing that you have to sort of adapt to and acknowledge, because we've been in Brig Juno for so long, right? But both these teams, we've heard it from them multiple times throughout the season, just that they're not comfortable on the Brigida and the Juno together, right? That their players just simply weren't feeling it, that it was an odd combination for them. I mean, Smelvin, we know that they lean into the BAP anytime they can, and for good reason, right? They have some solid players that can pick up that hero, but, it is very different when you're running this backline compared to the Brig Juno we have been, because Brig's entire job is just to keep the other support alive, whereas Lucio, you have to be an initiator. You have to be somebody who can do what they can with the team, and sort of, be an integral part instead of just a backline bodyguard that, times their flails properly. So it definitely involves it more as a team overall, but it is just a lot to take in.
Kings Row coming up very, very soon. We do have a substitution in from Lunar Falcons. Otters being replaced. This DPS line incredibly, incredibly deep, as Chappers will enter the lineup, and they've still got the likes of a disgusting Tracer player in the back pocket in Elemento. So Chappers, clearly they want to, maybe they want to run a double hit scan. I don't know if it was clear about this adaptation, but Lunar Falcons definitely see something about this map that they think that Jappers can definitely help with.
I mean, it's one of those things where can they help out with it, is going to be the question, right? But making subs like this, I mean, it's one of the benefits of having these extra, large rosters where they have all the players to be able to do any and everything, so you can flex them, throughout what you're doing. And it is an integral part, right, to be able to sub players in and out and make sure that actually makes sense. You're not just doing it randomly or anything like that here. But as it seems like we are finally getting ready to get in the map, it's just sort of a time will tell situation of if this double hit scan really will come to fruition.
All right, Classic coming back for map number 2, Kings Row on the horizon. Well, this part of the map, I guess, isn't so classic, is it? This one is. We will get to see what these players are going to rock out with, and Smelvin is going to be on the attack here, and they're on a Diva comp themselves, not wanting to play the Orisa, and it will still be the mishmash composition for both of these teams, with the Lucio BAP in the back line. And then one more time, it's just Seedza on the venture, gonna try and find some value with it.
And I think the value is going to have to come on finding the Baptiste, right? Everybody else is going to be a little too split up, but Lunar Falcons, all they have to do is make that mistake of, grouping up at the wrong time, and all of a sudden everybody's getting hit by that drill. It's super impactful here. So Lunar Falcons, their defense is going to have to be split. It's going to be some good control of high ground, as the Diva will be mirrored on the other side as well. Again, signifying how important this high ground control really is going to be.
All right, Kings Row, Smelvin on the attack. As I said, Chapper's caught in the statue for a moment, but not going to be too worried about that on that Tracer. Celix bailing to the high ground to try and defend their hold up there. No, instantly dropping back down. We know where the Baptiste is for Smelvin Industries, and it's actually going to be Chappers losing the duel to Seedza in that back line. And unfortunately, Jacob kind of shooting at a ghost there, trying to keep themselves in the mech here. It was a great first pick on the Chappers, but Chappers is going to be back here very, very soon. As Celix needs a bail, very low, but now both immortality fields used.
Yeah, and so now just a little bit of point pressure being applied here, looking for that opportunity to get back in is the defense. But look, you're already grouped up in the choke. Yeah, pressuring down Seeds is going to be what has to happen.
Yeah, Seeds going to fall here. The mechs lost from either side. Mori from the high ground, rain in hell. But now neither team has a Diva. Robbie Hash trying to get away, but Let's Be My Fan will not allow that to happen. It's just Mori left on the high ground, and as good as he is, there's not much he can do here.
Yeah, and so now we are, looking into this next fight and what's going to occur. You have an interesting sort of setup with, again, Smelvin trying to assault here, but everybody just playing back in that choke, knowing that they don't have to be, right there contesting point, because there's not a lot of point pressure on either of these squads.
I mean, Seeds, just no space to go there. Nothing in the way of cooldowns by the time you're in. Cannot escape. Very lucky that Mori does find it Chappers with the railgun right through the chest. Zombie having to back up in the face of that disruptor shot. 2 minutes on the clock for Smelvin Industries. Robbie has the sound barrier for when they come back. But Lunar Falcons are going to be good for this fight with 2 picks coming through.
And again, this defense is able to hold, and that Venture struggling to find value now is going, I would say, is going to be the best opportunity with the Tectonic Shock if you can work your way into the backline. But Celix has been watching like a hawk, making sure this Venture is tracked at every single part, as well as Lunar Falcons having all the ults.
Well, here is a Tectonic Shock, but Mori is dead already. Tectonic Shock is going to find a lot in the way of damage, but it's just nothing coming through for kills. They get the tick come through, but Zombie is just having a day.
Is having a day of it, and now it's just absolutely crazy. Sure, you're able to get that tick, but not much else comes of it. The only good thing you can say is that you had a solid ult trade there, right? Being able to force out 3 ultimates from the side of Lunar Falcons to just your 2. And now it sees going over to the May. I feel like this is going to be a lot better because Celix is going to get punished for being alone, right? That freeze goes through.
Well, Ant Matrix comes out, but Let's Be My Fan falls in this adaptation. Maybe not the sole reason they won that fight. The Kitsune Rush probably has something to do with it, but Smelvin Industries will be able to get their first point with 30 seconds on the clock.
And yeah, I mean, it could have come through at a better time. That Kitsune Rush, perfect from Seb there to get them over the line, as well as just a well-coordinated dive to eliminate targets quick as you like. Lunar Falcons, though, all got the forward spawn, so they're going to be here to contest this first corner. Not the archway. It seems like they've already had to give that up, but it's going to be this bookstore hold as Chappers in the backline trying to see what they can find, maybe an isolated target.
Smelva not giving it to him, though. So going to be able to get back to the team there for Chappers. No chokehold here for Lunar Falcons. Celix going to get aggro, though, jumping over to the point. Wall comes out, and Celix actually goes in. Has the self-destruct to get back into mech. Will be able to use it here as the rest of Smelvin going to bail back into the bookstore here. But Mori falling is going to be a bad sign for this team. Pulse Bomb does not find a stick, but does find a target. Robbie Hash falls, and Jacob going to knock out Chappers and get back into mech here.
Getting back into the mech, actually insane, the fact that that's just allowed to happen here. Now a bit of a 4v4 here. Smelvin is waiting for their Kiriko, but you know, once Seb is back in the fight, actually going over to the Brig. Interesting little switch up here as they're looking for a Blizzard opportunity.
Actually over to the Juno now for Seb. So constant changes coming in from that support player for Smelvin right now. 90 seconds on the clock as Jacob going to try and face tank an Ant Matrix, but the Blizzard comes out and it is so big, and even with the defense matrix coming through, that Blizzard from the Seeds just way too large.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a great zoning tool, especially with who was able to catch inside of it. And again, you know, a situation where you're investing so much if you're Lunar Falcons just to lose the fight, that cannot happen this consistently. Smelvin Industries now cruising to the end of point B. There definitely should be another fight here at the tail end of it before the cap comes through. Neither team really having ults to work with besides Celix being close to a Diva Bomb. So with this very neutral fight, again, you're probably looking towards somebody to make that hero play, and it's going to be one of these DPS.
Oh, well, Seb just being harassed right now. Will be able to survive for the moment, but Easy and Chappers finding one player each will mean a fight lost for Smelvin Industries. They need to back out to get one more fight.
One final fight here, and oh, this is going to be a brutal stagger onto the baby Diva. If they can get her back in any means possible, nope, the death comes through there. So even with boosters, it's going to be tricky to get them back in time. Granted, if they're able to establish a touch, Mori should get the overclock and things like that. So there are tools here for Smelvin to win, but they have to actually make sure they get to the payload.
Who can get there? They don't have a player fast enough.
I thought they had Judo speed ring. I thought Mori could have slid in. That's tragic.
Well, I mean, better than what they it looked like they were going to end up with early in that round, I suppose. The adaptations did come through. The Juno Brig, just too late. I feel like it could have helped. I feel like it was really a good adaptation to have to switch over to the Juno Brig in that situation. Deny the jumps from Selleck trying to go in with Chappers, right? But just far too late in the end. But now, as we head over to the Smelvin defense, it'll actually be the Ana Brig instead of the Juno Brig, and nothing going to change for Lunar Falcons as Mori, they are also going to switch over to the Ashe.
I mean, yeah, and I mean, the Ashe is an interesting play to be sure. People are leaning towards Sojourn a little bit heavier because of those recent buffs, but if you're able to connect these dynamites, I mean, Ashe can definitely deliver a lot quicker on these picks as long as the Ashe is, again, making sure those heads are being connected with. So it's a little bit more high risk, not as high risk as a Widowmaker where you're sort of all in on that pick potential, but it certainly is going to be, requiring a little bit of urgency from Mori to make sure these kills are coming through, because the longer the fight goes, the more value Zombie will get.
All right. Now the attack for Lunar Falcons. Smelvin Industries trying to play it safe here. Not wanting to give too much over to them as Sellex and Chappers will try to assault the high ground, or rather, I guess it's just Sellex by themselves. Chappers going back into the hotel. In and out. Gonna choose it. The AC gonna run out there, Chappers. They will be able to get a tick for free. Nothing really being denied by Smelvin Industries right now. Finally going to drop down to the point. Almost a second tick. Very, very close to that now. Chappers trying to put some pressure on to those who did end up dropping down. So is Zombie. But, I mean, it's just a posturing duel. And right now, Falcons are kind of doing what they want until Sellex drops down to the point to try and 1v1 a May.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of a misplay there from Sellex, and that's going to allow the fight to finally open up for Smelvin's defense. But yeah, that defense, it was looking very interesting, right? Until, you had that May on point. And I think that's a safe place to be for Siege, right? You have the Cryo, you have the May wall, both tools that can sort of buy you time if you need on the objective. Even though you don't have the ability to get back to high ground, so you lose a little bit of that safety. Overall, I think it is a very smart, safe play to put your May down on the point.
Well, Sellex briefly going to get into mech here. Will be in it for this fight. Zombie anteed up, but nothing going to come out of that ability for the Mo. Jacob looking for an opportunity, and there it is. The nano boost comes through. The defense matrix just too much. There will be a trade. Mori for Robbie Hash. Chappers for Robbie Hash as Mori finds the dynamite kill late. Zombie sliding up to the high ground. Jacob very, very desperately low here. Has that self-destruct to get back into mech, a get out of jail free card. Seeds does not have that same luxury, however, as the... yeah, just unfortunate for Jacob not able to get back into mech, and that should be Lunar Falcons taking this first point. Zombie, yeah. Good lord.
Zombie just opening it up in such a beautiful way here. In Smelvin, they were taking these fights very methodically and in a very smart way, but, they weren't actually getting kills or getting ult percentage up, and so now they're, getting all these check marks in, after the fact, and it's just going to create a situation where, sure, you can get a solid fight here on B, but you really wish you would have had things like the Bob and Blizzard to help you out on point A. But now, looking at this next fight, like I said, Jacob already in there.
Sellex also taking so much space, controlling what little high ground there is on objective B. Now jumping down to the low ground as that nade goes way over the heads of anybody on Lunar Falcons. Right, and now Let's Be My Fan has this Ant Matrix ready to go, and now the rally out the wall. Perfect from Seeds. Chappers alone in the back line now as they try to head back in, but it's going to be an ill-timed fight if they do.
And being able to do that off the back of just the rally is perfect for Smelvin's defense. It's going to be such a good establishing point now on these arches, right? Because it's going to punish anybody who wants to push through. You can use the Bob or the Blizzard to do that, right? You don't have to overlap them. So that's going to be 2 separate fights. As long as you're not losing members to random picks, you should be able to get some time.
An incredible anti there, connects onto 2, but not going to be enough. Bob in the hands of Mori here for the moment. The nano boost connected on to Jacob, but still nothing from all of these investments. Bob will come through. The wall is good, and it will claim the life of Izia, or rather help to do so, as a second comes through. Now 2 minutes, 15 seconds on the clock for Lunar Falcons.
Yeah, trying to find this late pick onto the Baptiste. If you can get it, it's massive, but that mortality field going to make it so difficult. The Devo realizing she has to just back out for the time being. But like I said, just investing the Bob there. Now, Lunar Falcons making some swaps of their own. Over to the May and the Junker Queen. Don't really know who you're going to be looking to isolate with this kind of composition, and closing the distance on the Diva may be hard, but if the Queen can do it, then that backline is going to be pretty much free reign for some action.
A great push denied for a little bit longer, as Izia did end up falling there out of nowhere, though they are ready to go again here. 90 seconds on the clock. Zombie connects a shot, but it's a lot of damage coming back through from the other direction. They are very susceptible to this Blizzard now for Lunar Falcons. Should Seeds let that one rip. Now overclock in from Zombie. That slide ready to go. Seeds going to drop the Blizzard, and it's going to claim the life of Selix. Jacob going to lose the mech, but the self-destruct good to get back in, and without that Junker Queen, there's a
Ooh, that nano. I would have held that nano, Seb. Oh, I see why.
I think Jacob is also saying that.
Oh, that's going to be brutal, because now you're having to deal with a sound barrier and an amplification matrix. Well, Smelvin's already down 1. If they're trying to hold this, it's going to be absolutely brutal for them.
Bob coming up from Mori here very, very soon. Could be a great stall tool. 40 seconds on the clock. Smelvin have locked this defense down. Amp Matrix in from the side of Lunar Falcons, and Zombie claims the kill onto Seeds. There will be a disengager because they only need the one fight, want to take it right.
Exactly, and being able to hold the sound barrier for that is massive, because now they're building to a Blizzard of their own, potentially going to have a Rampage for this final fight as well. All massive fight winners.
Jacob going to lose out on the mech here. Bob will buy them the time to get back in it, though. Need something from these ultimates building up from Lunar Falcons. Smelvin Industries needs something big here soon. Jacob will fall. No chance to get back into the mech. Mori will meet the same fate. Rampage out. Will not connect onto Seeds, who just goes right into that ice block form. But in the end, it will be Lunar Falcons winning out here on map number 2. Once again, it was brutally close, but Lunar Falcons able to get it done.
Get it done. I mean, I'm sure they're thanking their lucky stars for just that last fight of being the last fight that was won by the side of Smelvin was just such an overinvestment, right? And so when you put yourself that far behind the 8 ball in your ult economy, there's really no catching up with this late in the game unless you're coming up with some massive picks here. Zombie, of course, being massive on the Sojourn, but overall, like you said, it was so damn close, but Lunar Falcons just able to edge it out purely off of better ult discipline.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the only reason that Smelvin lost this map, that mistimed nano boost, but because obviously one play never defines an entire map. But, oh, that was backbreaking. That nano could have been so big in these late round fights, right? Just such an unfortunate mistime there, misplay by Seb, and I mean, Smelvin are now in a position that really, in tournament play at least, they haven't been in before, right? They're down 2-0. They've lost to these teams before in the regular season, but their experience has had them with the upper hand through these tournaments. Now, however, Lunar Falcons is not so green anymore. They've had time to learn, get these big pressure games under their belt. They have experience and they have the skill. We know that for damn sure. Now, as we head to a break here, Lunar Falcons up 2-0. Not, match point yet. It is a first to 4. Smelvin Industries will have another map selection. We will get that right after the break.
I'm not crazy, Malin. I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
welcome back, everybody. The CGL Season 14 EU Console Open Grand Finals find us in a position we haven't seen in a tournament this year. Smelvin Industries down 2-0 after 2 maps in this series. They will have the third map selection here for map number 3. We do know where they're going to take us. It's going to be Esperanza. And I mean, Smelvin have just got to break this kind of funk that they've been in for the first 2 maps. They were very, very close, but you know, the Smelvin that we have seen all season long has been able to get the job done in these close maps. Just hasn't been the case today.
No, and I mean, they start out on this, you know, adaptation of the meta with the Orisa, but they're playing with the Venture, which is very good for punishing teams that are grouped up and, you know, being able to take advantage of that. But, you know, Lunar Falcons, they were quick to adapt. They saw that. They were like, okay, listen, we can't stay on top of each other. Let's try this little Diva variant. And it worked to pretty well success. Obviously, again, back and forth fights between these 2 squads just showing how competitive they are. But Smelvin, for the majority of the time on this Venture, just not being able to get the job done. Then, I mean, Kings Row, it ultimately came down to an overcommitment on that last fight, right? So you have to be able to shake that off. A team like Smelvin, you know, they're certainly capable of it, but they have to now actually show that you can shake that off. Esperanza heading forward, interesting pick. You still had your pick. I mean, me personally, I would have gone to Clash. I feel like that's a Venture playground across, especially Throne of Anubis, if you had your just free pick of map and mode, as we have had all playoffs long. But overall, I mean, you picked Esperanza, you must have confidence in it. So I have to see something from them here. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves in a reverse sweep situation, and that's never where you want to be.
Yeah, especially in a first to 4. Yeah, it's rough right now. I'm curious because Seed is remaining in the lineup, so the Venture is probably what they are banking on, right? I haven't seen a whole lot to justify playing the Venture here. They are very, very situational unless they're insanely strong, and Venture isn't right now. But I mean, it's just that's not even what's dragging Smelvin down right now. They're just playing messy. This is not the Smelvin that we have seen win tournaments this season, right? They won the mid-season tournament fairly easily, right?
That was not true. I was there. It was very similar to this, actually. It was a back and forth. Like, they got nervous under the collar. And so they played really close against Budget Approved in that midseason. It went back and forth every single map, you know, tick for tack, blow for blow. You know, not trying to derail your narrative or anything like that, but yeah, it's a very similar situation.
Regardless, they've been in these situations before, right? I mean, they've gotten the job done in these situations before. I mean, it is what it is. That's just got to be the mentality. Like, we've lost the first 2 maps. We got to go back 0-0. Still have to win 4 maps to get this win, get this championship. Esperanza for map number 3. It's going to be the Junker Queen for Lunar Falcons with the Juno Brig backline for both sides at the moment. But it will be an Echo versus a Tracer and a Diva versus a Junker Queen here for these teams. So some different ideas from either side.
Yeah, and I feel like whatever team is able to take tempo is going to be able to pay off massively from it, right? If Celix can get into this backline, find Seb or Robbie Hash every single time, then it's just going to sort of start a snowball cascade effect. But on the flip side of things, right, Seeds and Jacob, if they can team up, hit a dive onto the backline in this very similar way, if they can do it first and find it quicker, they absolutely can give Lunar Falcons a run for their money.
All right, now headed back over to what we have seen for so damn long. These Juno Brig backlines, so oppressive if played correctly. Zombie, eyes on Mori, but Mori has eyes on them as well. You see up there in the top left, Celix getting very low, but the healing coming through from those supports. Smelvin begins their push, gets a nice little 7 meters out of this push early as Seed goes to the sky, and Mori finds a well-placed headshot on to Zombie. And with Selix falling here, Smelvin Industries will find their footing here early on Esperanza.
They'll be able to find it in such a massive way. Now, you know, Smelvin, this is the sort of start they needed, they were looking for, and it comes off the back of their DPS line. They're going to have to rely on them more and more, especially with Selix going over to the D.Va now, maybe going to be a little bit harder. But really, that Tracer versus Echo, right? Trappers is going to have a hard time actually finding value, whereas Seeds, I feel like as long as you're calling out where these sticky bombs are placed, somebody's able to follow up, things like that can happen.
Well, yeah, Seeds with an incredible first pick onto Chappers there, and that is just going to deny the entire push from Lunar Falcons for the moment. There will be a drop over to the point as they unlock, but yeah, Selix actually just completely insta-mech.
Yeah, being able to break that mech and just leaving the baby Devo, right? Because now they're a non-factor. You take them out later if you can. Meanwhile, Selix is just desperately trying to earn that mech back, and it's just not possible.
Yeah, Selix going to fall here, and Smelvin Industries' confidence growing as they cross into this next corner.
Being able to keep, you know, massive momentum going early on here, but pushback. Oh, this pulse bomb is lurking in the back line.
Eyes on Chappers, but Seb drops the pulse bomb? Keep the shield up, buddy!
Didn't he?
Keep the shield up, buddy! Chappers claims a second, and, I mean, I guess.
I mean, the upside is Jacob can't get stalled because you're standing on bot, right? They have to dispatch you to get it back to center. Everybody should be getting these forward spawns on the side of Smelvin, and you have 5 beautiful check marks to get this going with now. Of course, you're going to be mirroring a lot of them. Both support ults online for both squads here. Izuya will certainly have it by the time this fight really breaks out, but, you know, having them already online gives Smelvin this upper hand, the tempo that we were looking for.
All right, well, here is those said support ultimates. Robbie Hash does end up falling here, but that orbital ray is still annoying for Lunar Falcons. They will have one of their own remech coming through from Selix after the self-destruct. Duplicate ready for a seed, should they so choose, and that is not the target that they really wanted, but it could be the target that they needed. You know, the extra healing going to come through, may not even need this orbital ray in the end, but will have it.
I actually think it was intentional. Obviously it was a weird little flick, but you have to remember, Robbie Hash got picked in that fight. It was not as noticeable because the orbital ray was already out, so that healing was there for the team. But with that orbital ray over, Smelvin only had the break heal, so potentially a good dupe there that keeps Jacob in the fight, keeps everybody healthy, and allows Smelvin to get back in control. Might have been just what the doctor ordered.
Back across the checkpoint here for Smelvin Industries. They're all playing from the high ground. So waiting for Lunar Falcons to maybe make a play here. Chappers with the pulse bomb going to find a bit of damage on the Seeds. Going to be able to clean up that kill. Good pick on it to the Echo in the end. Now Mori with the overclock, but you know, without that Robbie Hash on the Juno here, not going to be enough to keep Smelvin in this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's an overclock that you may certainly want back here, but you know, you just got to look forward now. Lunar Falcon's going to be able to push forward once again here. But again, everybody on Smelvin getting these forward spawns, they're just so damn powerful in these push modes. You have to be able to take a second fight afterward to really get some momentum building for the team that falls behind early in these fights. And this is a good opportunity for Lunar Falcons too with their own overclock.
All right, well, a couple of ultimates in the hands of Smelvin Industries here. Self-destruct, rally, ready to go. Overclock in from Chappers as Seb will answer with the rally. Zombie not really finding opportunities, going to slide in there, but caught by the self-destruct is Zombie, so that overclock got about as much value as Mori's did.
Yeah, and so now it's just a cleanup fight potential here as, yeah, it's just going to be the cleanup here from Smelvin Industries to keep things pushing forward. Chappers realizing they have to go over to the Echo. That'll be the final casualty in this fight. But Smelvin, I mean, they've been doing very good at actually maintaining control, maintaining tempo in these fights. You know, that D.Va Bomb, maybe a little bit of luck went into that one, but the bot returning to this 102-meter lead right now, I mean, they might even be able to get more ground on it.
All right, well, for the moment, that will not be the case. Izia takes a shot, but Robbie Hash takes a headshot. Zombie claiming the life of the Juno here early. So no meterage will be gained in this fight, it would seem, as without Robbie Hash, that's just a lot of the healing gone for Smelvin. But Mori and Seb find one each, so, you know, just trying to build up these ultimates.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, right, that entire time, again, you're on the bot if you're Smelvin. That it's not moving back. You're not, like, having to lose your second fight opportunity with the forward spawns or anything like that. You get to just be back in time here. You're going to even get control of the high ground here as everybody else has to push the bot. So this is going to be great for them. Upside for Lunar Falcons, they're already on their support ultimates, whereas Smelvin still have a ways to go on their rally.
High ground control, like you said, for Smelvin, and there is the rally out from Let's Be My Fan. Orbital Ray called in from Robbie Hash. Now, one from Izuya as well, trying to find these ult trades, but Chappers has fallen. Seb will meet the same fate, but Let's Be My Fan without the rally armor now will get traded as Selix trying to keep this fight alive for the side of Lunar Falcons, but Seed on the D.Va themselves, a 2v2 D.Va smorgasbord on the bot right now will have Selix ending up losing out.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot you can do in that situation. So Smelvin, they weather the storm here, and they get a pretty solid trade out of it, right? Both support ultimates and traded for a duplicate and your orbital ray. So now Seb going to have that rally to give everybody the extra sustain, either through a duplicate or Zombie's overclock. I mean, you'll take that any day of the week here, as now Lunar Falcons, again, trying to find an opening.
Well, there is the dupe out from Chappers to get aggressive here, rally in, and that mech just destroyed so quickly. And even with two D.Vas on the field, Mori claims the life of Izuya. Self-destruct out from Jacob to get back into mech, will get back into mech, and that is a lot of echo in the kill feed right now as Seed has started to come alive.
Yeah, and so now Lunar Falcons, they're, you know, staring down the barrel of a loaded gun, I guess the saying goes here. They are having so many meters, they're going to have to try to catch up on that. Hole is being dug ever deeper.
Zombie with the overclock can be so damn deadly, but Echo from the back line, not going to be able to claim that kill, but the overclock did not find what Zombie was hoping for. Not a whole lot coming through from these overclocks from either of the Sojourns right now. Seed takes a shot there, but ultimately not gonna matter. That will, though. Mori goes down. That is going to be brutal, as it's just a fight to stall as much time as possible now.
Yeah, and they're doing just that, right? Being able to stall this out here.
Are they winning?
No, they're not winning.
Okay.
They're not winning.
Okay.
But I mean, look at this ult coming. Okay, again, Lunar Falcons have both support ultimates to mirror, but otherwise, I mean, Smelvin Industries slightly ahead on pretty much everything else, already having the duplicate, while Chappers is a couple of percent away. I mean, that couple of percent can be the difference maker, as now we're going to dip below a minute before this next fight starts. Lunar Falcons, you know, you needed to win a fight a long time ago, but this fight is pretty much going to be your best must-win situation.
All right. Selix forward onto the brig now. Immediately turning tail because they knew that peel was going to come through, but Selix so low and just eviscerated Seb. Going to lose their life. Selix not quite dead just yet, but the orbital rays from either side mean that this fight is going to be so difficult. Seed loses out on the duplicated Sojourn, and Izuya claims a second kill, and that will be Lunar Falcons grabbing this fight, and they will finally deny the forward spawns.
And that's massive for them, right? Because now, you know, generally speaking, unless it's going to be a stagger touch, Smelvin is not going to contest the forward spawns being acquired by Lunar Falcons here. And, you know, Lunar Falcons, they now accept that they're going to be in overtime. It's a one-fight situation here. Zombie coming up on the overclock, you know, being able to get that before Mori is going to be massive in terms of your fight-winning implications, but you do actually have to, again, make sure that these shots connect and you find a target.
And you've got to get this checkpoint, because that is a lot of wasted time. Once you do it, now Jacob going to use the self-destruct to get back into the mech, but Seeds will not be able to live. Jacob does, however, stay alive here, so not going to lose out on that D.Va just yet, but now we cross the first corner here for Lunar Falcons.
Yeah, but you had to treat your overclock for the forward spawns. Like you said, that's not the situation you want at all. As long as Smelvin fight here, they still have 2 more fights and an overclock to go.
Mori with the overclock, looking for the chance, looking for the collapse here, finds one. Self-destruct in from the side of Selix. Jacob Mech very low right here. Is it 3 versus 3 on this point. Now, 2 versus 3 for Smelvin Industries. Disruptor shot coming out now as the reinforcements return. Overtime continues here. Jacob trying their damnedest to stay in this mech, and Seb doing everything they can to keep this Inspire procced, but not much going for this Smelvin Industries fight right now unless they can get Robbie Hash back. No, Jacob and Seb are going to fall here as Smelvin Industries will be sent back to spawn.
Sent back to spawn, but now they're actually in a very precarious situation. Azuya is going to already have the orbital ray. Robbie Hash is only halfway there. Sure, you're going to have the rally on the other side of things, but if this fight goes long in the hands of the orbital ray as well, Zombie's going to have another overclock here. Lunar Falcons in overtime. They're getting a lot of tools online to potentially get this job done.
All right, need something big from Seed on this duplicate. Now we're going to see the rally in from the side of Seb trying to deny the orbital ray, but Robbie Hash has fallen, and Seed this time guaranteed that is intentional. The duplicate from Seed going to be able to get up to this orbital ray eventually. Will not be able to get it off though, and Seed will fall here to the overclock, and now it's just going to be desperation for Smelvin.
Desperation. I don't even think they get out to touch. If they do, there's a pulse bomb and a diva bomb waiting, Fletch. I mean, this is Lunar Falcons and a massive comeback.
Robbie is dead, and they started this final push with over 100 meters to go, and Lunar Falcons are now on match point for the championship.
That's just disheartening. If you're Smelvin, you played that map so incredibly well, you just couldn't clean it up in the end. Your focus fire wasn't there to get these crucial targets out of it. I mean, absolutely amazing performance from Lunar Falcons. They being able to have that mental resilience, realizing what you had to do, being measured in your fights, never getting overwhelmed, being able to come back in that overtime situation. It shows how good this squad is, and they deserve it. They're on match point right now, one map away from the championship, and Smelvin, so uncharacteristic, but now they're facing a reality they're all too familiar with, Fletch, second place.
Need a break, need a reset. They're not going to get a long one, though. It's their final map pick of the match. Yeah, I mean, there was no one thing that broke the camel's back there for Smelvin on that map. I think it comes down to ult usage again. That last fight, Smelvin just committed so much, and they struggled to find value. Like, Mori had 4 people lined up with an overclock and could only find 1. It's just, like, that's not the only problem. That's the one that I, like, remember most clearly in my head. Like, I'm watching, you know, we're a little bit delayed. I'm watching on the stream. Smelvin were up in one of these fights to end the map. They had a 3-for-2 trade, and they could not get the job done. I mean, this is just not what we expect from Smelvin Industries at all, and now they have one of the hardest jobs ahead of them possible in Overwatch Esports, a reverse sweep in a 1st-to-4. It's already hard, but now you have to win 4 in a row.
Yeah, and it's going, I mean, it's brutal, right? It's just, there's no other words for it. Like you said, it is going to be their last map pick of the series, regardless of anything, right? So they better make it a good one. It seems like the pick has already come through. We are headed to Flashpoint. It's going to be New Junk City. Again, I feel like a little bit of a missed opportunity not going over to Clash, Throne of Anubis for this venture style that they wanted. So good for them. But that being said, I don't even know if they need the venture, right? Seeds for a majority of that map looked incredible on the Echo. Absolutely amazing. Like, why weren't we running this to start? But, you know, that's in the past right now. That's what Smelvin has to be thinking to themselves. Meanwhile, Lunar Falcons, they need to think the opposite, right? They've got all of the momentum behind them. They've won 3. They just need to do 1 more. It's so painfully close in front of them that they can absolutely taste it, and you know, it's just going to see if they can do it here or if they're going to have to wait 1 more map pick.
Okay. 1 more time. Lunar Falcons, they only need this map. But Yeah, I mean, Smelvin has been in precarious situations before, right? Um, I I can't guarantee that they will come out of this unscathed, unfortunately, for them, right? Because like you said, yeah, they've just been kind of the team that fell just short over the last 3 years or seasons, I should say. It's not a fun place to be in, and I mean, Lunar Falcons, they looked a little green around the gills, but they are soaring right now. They look so good, and it's not that they even look good, the entire time, right? Because they are making similar mistakes to Smelvin Industries, right? But it is when those mistakes are happening for Smelvin and Lunar, right? The mistakes for Smelvin are happening at the end of maps where it actually comes down to who is going to win the map. Lunar is making these mistakes more, toward the beginning or middle of the maps where, it's annoying. You don't like it happening, but you'll live. If you stop making them, you're going to be able to win. And right now, the ice is just in the veins of Lunar Falcons right now. Like, they are so clutch.
I mean, yeah, that pretty much sums it up here. Again, absolutely would be a tragedy to watch Smelvin come this close just to go home, but Lunar Falcons, all three of these maps, one fight away from flipping the other side, but Lunar Falcons, they have that clutch factor that's needed in these grand final situations that you need to win maps, to win series like this when your opponent is just as skilled as you are. So, I mean, absolutely got to give the full props and full credit over to the side of Lunar Falcons here. They're playing a very good game, considering, again, how they normally have performed in playoff situations throughout this season. They generally fumble. They're the teams that don't have this level of clutch, this level of coordination, but they're exhibiting it here. They're exhibiting it in such a beautiful way. And now, it's about, will they be able to figure things out against this venture composition, or will we see a repeat of map 1 where they just look a little bit stronger? But it seems like we're not there just yet. Cinematic moment, going to have to wait, as Zombie has requested a little bit of a pause.
Not much going there. Not much we can analyze. A couple of nice ducks, I suppose.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about, I guess, the comps that we saw before we headed to the pause. On the side of Smelvin, of course, it was the Venture, as you said and talked about. That's probably what we're headed back to. In spite of the Echo looking very, very good, I do like the Venture more here. I think it's a little easier to get value with them. It is an Orisa on either side, but the big difference is going to be this Juno Brig versus the Bap Lucio.
And, I mean, it's one of those things where, again, Smelvin, they said all season long they weren't as comfortable on this Juno Brig, but potentially they think the Orbital Ray Rally combo is better than the Lucio Bap, which, a lot of people would tend to agree that, but if you're not as comfortable, if this Bap can find value, these Lucio speeds are clean, then Lunar Falcons will still be better.
Bless you. Head into this first map arena as always. Let's be my fan. Investing the immortality field very, very early here as Flashpoint A unlocks here. Will go down for Lunar Falcons to try and capture that out. Mori on the high ground, going to take a headshot there from Zombie, but it's not going to be enough to claim the life there. The Spear Spin keeping Jacob in this fight. Need to play it safe. Need to get that healing rolling in from Seb, as it will be Smelvin that grabbed this first flip. But this fight far from over as the pressure continues to be put in. Jacob goes in hard with that Spear Spin, now backing back up to the point. 20% now for Smelvin Industries. A Seed is the one going to be investing the Burrow here, as now bailing back out.
Bailing back out, bit of a soft reset, but Smelvin in control the entire time. And now coming up already on an Orbital Ray, which they'll use.
Yeah, Seb going to drop that early, and Selix caught in a bad spot to deal with it, but Mori and Seeds are so damn low. Zombie has built up to a very quick ultimate of their own, looking for the damage, but not coming through in the face of the rally and the Orisa. That overclock will fade away as Zombie tries to find something going. Mori claimed 3! A hat trick for Celix with the Terra Surge. And that is going to be more than enough to get Lunar Falcons head. And Zombie's already at 40% again.
I mean, yeah, the Sojourn, the Sojourn buffs, they are very real. They are very menacing for sure here. Zombie's so damn good on it as well. And Smelvin, they threw a lot to try to hold on to that one. So now, probably going to have to take a fight where they just try to force ultimates out, as they know there's a Blade as well as a dual support ultimate coming out on the side of Lunar Falcons. It really would be a miracle for Smelvin to win this one with so much that Lunar has.
Alright, well, Otters with the Dragon Blade ready to go. Amp Matrix out from Let's Be My Fan. It will be a kite here from the side of Smelvin. So that Amp Matrix gonna be just about only good for the amped healing. Now we see the Juno, or rather the Venture, burrow in and Seed is going to explode. Terra Surge in from Jacob could claim the life of somebody. Sound Barrier down from Izia. And, I mean, that's just point A, going to go to Lunar Falcons here. Smelvin Industries just kind of throwing it away.
I mean, Seed out of sync with the rest of the team. I don't know if the call was for the team to be there and the team wasn't there. I don't know if Seed just simply went in alone, trying to seek some sort of value on the Venture, but that's going to have to be left to another point here. You were able to get both support ultimates out, so now you're just dealing with this double DPS ult that's going to be mirrored on both sides. Zeb getting ever closer to another orbital ray can be massive here, but Lunar Falcons already have positioning towards the point first.
Okay. Well, Mori with the Disruptor Shot, good for the first pick. No cooldowns for Otters any longer, so we'll have to back down, and without that Baptiste to Lunar Falcons, think it better than to continue to aggress.
Yeah, and Lunar Falcons, I mean, it's smart, right? Just disengage, simply wait for the next fight. Zombie's so incredibly low, has to get that mega health back. But Smelvin gets first cap without having to invest anything, so now they can keep their ult economy in check as they're heading towards the next fight here. But this Blade overclock combo is going to be lethal.
Well, Orbital Ray from Seb could be a very, very big nuisance. Now Tectonic Shock down, and Seed not scared to let it go too with that ultimate. Not one that you see a whole lot of value with often, but Smelvin finding it there.
Yeah, and that's a good start for Smelvin here, but now, again, Lunar Falcons, they didn't invest anything. They're coming up towards all 5 ultimates. So Smelvin, they're almost going to be in a situation where they want to just force as much as they can out of Lunar Falcons without ulting themselves. They're probably going to end up having to give up a fight here on this point, but then if they can set up a situation where Lunar Falcons uses it a lot and re-engage after, they could be set for life.
All right, Jacob and Celix going at it. Head-to-head on the point. Celix backing down now, alone on the point, essentially. Smelvin need to converge on this Orisa, who has no help, but, I mean, that is not going to be what happens. Terra Surge in, and will be a lot of damage out, but Jacob is all alone in the backline now himself. Terra Surge in from Celix as Otters cleans up with the Dragon Blade, and another big misplay from Smelvin.
Yeah, I mean, it's criminal that Celix just got to sit on point like that. Absolutely criminal. There's no other words for it. That Orisa should have been dead to rights 8 times over, but Lunar Falcons, they did have to commit a lot, right? 4 ultimates into that fight, now just holding on to the sound barrier. Smelvin Industries not having a lot to their name, but a sound barrier is something you can play around for sure here. It's just about, as long as it's not provided at the right time and you can actually find some picks off the back of your DPS line, but these engages are going to be the worst. Oh, the Venture.
Well, Seed's looking for it here. They know Seed's not going to go too far in there, but Celix will fall. That's exactly what Smelvin need to get started here. Seed's very low, able to burrow down into the ground, so not too worried about death just yet. Has the drill run ready to go here. Gonna throw it into that Lucio. Gonna find a little bit of damage, but nothing in the end. A little bit of a whip shot there. Easy acclaimed by Mori in the end, and Smelvin will grab their first point.
In theory, they do have to actually get the cleanup here, but with Otters pushed off, that should be the end of it. Mori does fall at the last minute, but now we're tied back up 1 apiece here on Flashpoint, and it's going to be just, again, more of this back and forth situation here. You're seeing the rest of Smelvin try to just disengage, get over to the objective first. Meanwhile, Lunar Falcons realizing, yeah, we're going to be on the back foot for this one, having to be okay with that. But that's a beautiful pick.
Yeah, back foot, no more for the side of Lunar Falcons. Zombie traded out there. A great pick by Mori. Now,
Unnecessary
it
pick.
will be a 4 versus 4 for the fight here on Bomb Flats. Jacob going to go in with the Orbital Ray. Immortality Field invested. Pulled in is that Baptiste. Taken down is the Baptiste. Let's be my fan. Claim. Smelvin Industries win the fight.
Yeah, and so that's the Orbital Ray and Terra Surge commitment there to get that first cap. But again, we're heading into almost the same exact situation as we were before, where Lunar Falcons are going to have a plethora of ultimates to work with. In Smelvin, they're going to have to pretty much either not invest heavily or be able to get a ton of point percentage out of the fact of their investment here. Now it's just going to be a pathing for main, though, as Lunar Falcons, they can set up with this blade.
Well, here's Tectonic Shock in from Seeds. Rally to deny Otter's Dragon Blade there. Beautiful play from Robbie Hash to get rid of the Genji. Seed just kind of thrown around in the underground, and I mean, a great, excellent fight for Smelvin Industries here.
This is more of what they needed absolutely here. But it wasn't the greatest trade in the world. Still, you got, you know, the amplification matrix as well as a late stagger on the zombie. That actually could secure you the point if you continue to play forward like this. I mean, Smelvin, that pick might have just saved what would have been a bad situation where you were playing into an overclocked Terra Surge combo.
All right, 90% here. Going to have to be a touch from, you have to assume, Izia, but it will be Otters. Now overclock in from Mori. Otter's going to deflect that back at them. Now, Mori has got to find something with this overclock, but it does end up fading away. Celix with the Terra Surge ready to go. Finds some damage into the Brig and the Juno, and Zombie will clean everything up for Lunar Falcons. A hat trick once more, and yeah, gonna be able to take over here at 99.
Mori's overclock ultimately coming up with nothing is never what you want to see there. So Zombie, now the only ultimate on the board with this overclock, and we've seen how destructive it can be in the hands of this Sojourn player. Smelvin, they're going to have to create a lot of space, or, you know, be able to kite back from it depending on the angle that Zombie wants to end up taking here. So it's going to be sort of a heads-up play from Smelvin on how they want to deal with this.
All right, well, some aggression in from Smelvin. They know that they've got time here, but they cannot waste it. Zombie's overclock doesn't seem like it's going to find a final blow, but some damage into Jaco. Now Terra Surge into the Orbital Ray. So big. Zombie under duress. 52 HP. Claimed by the Disruptor shot of Mori there. Bumper cars on the point for the point, and it will be Smelvin claiming the point.
Claiming the point, only needing one more to take this map and keep themselves alive. But again, these trades back and forth, Lunar Falcons, they now have a amplification matrix, as well as they should be getting over to the objective first, although this is going to be, we might actually see a fight in the middle here as the teams are a little bit split up, and, you know, people are going to get caught out.
All right, yeah. They see each other. They want to kill each other. Not a surprise at all, as you said. Smelvin do not seem like they want to, you know, invest in this fight too much, get a little bit closer to the point before they aggress. Celix sent back down at the hands of the whip shot of Robbie Hash. Let's be my fan with the Am Matrix ready to go. Having to play it safe, not wanting to go too far in, but I mean, Robbie Hash feeding Izuya a whip shot there, a beautiful pick. Dragon Blade pulled. I mean, this has got to find something big for Otters, because this fight is heavy in favor of Smelvin Industries.
Yeah, and, you know, Smelvin now has to go back, grab the point, as they weren't doing throughout most of this. And that's just, I mean, these Dragon Blades have not been connecting at all. The Otters now over to the Tracer here, trying to, again, maybe find some value onto the backline. But Smelvin are in a beautiful position right now. They force out a ton of ultimates, including both support ults from Lunar Falcons after they have to commit this swap to the Juno Brig themselves. And a stagger onto the Baby Diva potentially, but it's a remake!
Yep, Celix able to get into the mech there and squishing Robbie Hash, getting absolutely massive value out of what is supposed to be a kind of a silly thing, and now Smelvin Industries will lose out at about 50.
I mean, that's absolutely massive. There's no other words for it. Look at Smelvin's ult bank, right? If they were able to just stay in control, get that kill onto the Diva, they would have coasted into final fight by this point with 4 ultimates in their name, and it would have been up to Zombie to make a hero play with an overclock. Instead, Lunar Falcons have a new lease on life. It's not the best one. It is still going to take a lot probably from this overclock or the rest of the team to clean up here as Smelvin's pushing in with all 4.
Well, here is the tectonic shock in, and did not see what happened to Ezio, but I can assure you that they are quite dead. Zombie now in the backline sees this Juno, and I mean, Selleck's going to have to find something with this self-destruct and will, but not going to be able to get back into mech, as Smelvin Industries will take it back over and only using 2.
Only using 2, but Zombie holding onto this overclock is the key, right? You know, this overclock duel is going to actually be on the back of Selleck's right now. Because this defense matrix is going to determine so much. Do you shield your zombie, that way those shots can get off? Or are you going to have to fly around, potentially putting some of that defense matrix over your supports to make sure they aren't getting hit by Mori's side of things? Either way, it's final fight for this point, potentially, and Smelvin have all the control.
All right, well, orbital ray down in from Seb, helping out Mori with the overclock, but he does not get into it. Now, either overclock will find nothing, and everything is red in the kill feed. Jacob just being a menace to this Brig in the backline, and now it's just Otters left on the point with a pulse bomb to speak of, and will find the stick, but Smelvin Industries are not dead yet. They take New Junk City now 3-1, the reverse sweep alive.
It's alive, but when I tell, like, I don't want to be the pessimist here, but they won off of this venture composition. They look so incredibly good on it, but you know, you've run out of maps because you're no longer in control, right? So with Lunar Falcons having every map pick from here on out, they're not going to pick those close range maps for you. They're going to pick the things where they can play the Diva. They can play a little bit more spread out, allow Zombie to get more value on this Sojourn, because, you know, pound for pound, Zombie has been the better Sojourn player here. And overall, I mean, it is going to be a very grim situation for Smelvin Industries. If they're actually making this comeback happen, it's going to be in the face of extreme adversity.
Yeah, I mean, the deal is that Lunar Falcons was always going to be a big, strong, very strong opponent for Smelvin, but not once did I ever expect they would be in the position that they are in right now. For map number 5, it's going to be Havana from the side of Lunar Falcons, and I mean, I have to imagine that this is their pocket pick. If I remember correctly, in one of their earlier games in this bracket, Lunar Falcons selected Havana and absolutely wiped the floor on a Sigma Poke composition, a composition that has not had a lot of time in the spotlight outside of Havana or Circuit Royale, right? So Lunar Falcons, I have to imagine that's their play, and Smelvin, we've got to see what you've got left.
What do you have left? And it's going to be, again, you know, you're looking at Lunar Falcons being in their home turf, places that they want to be with their sort of setup here. We're expecting more of this hit scan oriented lineup from them where they can just do as they please. And overall, right, I mean, Lunar Falcons, you know, they don't have to worry about anything right now. Smelvin really is the ones that have to sort of rethink and reevaluate how things are going to go throughout this map. My best guess for them, you know, they have to try to either end up matching, or they have to just path their rotation so perfectly that they can make the Orisa still work here. But I mean, I doubt that's their plan. I think they're going to have to go with the meta of Havana, which is going to be either that Diva dive, or if you're throwing it to, you know, some past metas of past, right, the Sigma can come into play if you're really feeling it.
Going to be so interesting here, because I mean, if what is in my head is right, and it's kind of shaky at times, I mean, I did see, and we talked to I believe Zombie about it after their match, because it was a map 5 scenario. Okay. It was a map 5 scenario in that match. They went over to Havana. They dominated on the Sigma comp, but we're not going to get there just yet. It's going to be a quick break here. I thought we were going to roll into it, but y'all are going to have to wait just a little bit longer for map number 5, so stick around. This series, it's not over yet. All right, welcome back, everybody. Very, very dire situation here for Smelvin Industries. They bring out New Junk City, but their job cannot end here if they want to get their first ring. Lunar Falcons, though, on the other side, you know, they lose the fourth map, but they are still sitting pretty already at match point. They only need this one map. And like we were talking about before the break, the map selection is going to be Havana. And I mean, I can't really say anything more than I haven't already said. Lunar Falcons, I mean, are one of the few teams that have prepared and actually put effort into building these Sigma poke compositions for this pocket pick on Havana. So, I mean, this is going to be very, very brutal for Smelvin if they want to stay alive in this series.
I mean, yeah, and that's the situation when you find yourself down 3 maps, right? The opponent gets to pick maps. The best we've seen Smelvin on all day is this Orisa Venture when they can play on more closed-in maps, and take advantage of the clumped-up nature of the composition. This is the complete opposite of that. This is going to be a fish out of water situation for sure here. In case you forgot it from the other side of the break, Elemento is going to be in on that DPS line, subbing out for Otters, more than indicating we're hitting that double hit scan sort of proficiency here. But yeah, I mean, all in all, this is Lunar Falcons' map to lose, more than anything, right? They have prepped this map, they have scrimmed it, this is like their bread and butter, this is what they knew they want to do coming in. Smelvin, their back is up against the wall. They've faced second place before. This would be nothing new to them, but they want to change their destiny. They want to rewrite history here, but it's going to be in the face of overwhelming odds here, and it's going to require probably a massive step up. If I had to pinpoint anybody, maybe in Mori. Like, Mori's been fine all day. That's not me trying to badmouth or anything, but you're now having to probably go toe-to-toe or even better than Zombie to also then try to find angles and opportunities to sort of mitigate Elemento. So lots of work cut out for this DPS line.
And speaking of the work cut out for this DPS line, I am so damn curious what the plan is with Seed here. Because Smelvin only have one player on their bench right now, and it's Big Nan, who is normally their tank player. Jacob coming in for this series, right? Big Nan is another tank player, right? So you can't really change up the DPS line any more than what it is right now. And I've got to be honest with you, if Seed is going to be a difference maker, which they've been pretty quiet on every map except New Junk City for the most part, I need to see the Echo. Because this map and the way that Lunar Falcons are going to play it specifically, the Venture it's just not going to be able to build that, close that gap, close that distance that the Sigma composition is going to want to be able to hold, right? The Sigma comp likes to play at arm's length, likes to keep you far away, likes to poke at you from a distance, and Venture is very, very much the opposite of that. Wants to get up in the face, wants to drill you down, wants to run at you. And I mean, the way that I know Lunar Falcons prepare for this map specifically as the ace in the hole, I need Seed to either close that distance way more effectively or just adapt, go over back to the Echo, which they did look very competent on Esperanza.
But, I mean, that's the thing, right? That when you think back to these other maps, every single one was close. As much as we're saying, oh, Smelvin can only play this composition. Like, no, they've been playing a very competitive series here. It's just been this clutch factor at the end that's allowed Lunar Falcons to take it more often than they have not. Like you said, the Echo, it could be an interesting pick here, but I worry about, how an Echo is going to fare when you have, all of these open sight lines for hit scan, especially with a double hit scan threat looming on the other side of things that we know this Lunar Falcon squad loves to run. It's going to be about your positioning, keeping everybody safe. Also, we talk about the Echo, but also the backline, right? There's a few times that Robbie Hash has been caught out in these clutch situations. We know they're not as comfortable on this Juno Break backline, but you have to be a little bit more safe, a little bit more careful. Smelvin starting on the defense here. They're starting with their Orisa. This is probably going to indicate they're going for a spawn hold. This is going to be their best chance at a spawn hold, so I more than understand them going for it. That being said, they're not actually rushing towards the spawn doors here, so they're willing to try to play the distance, which I feel like is a massive mistake, knowing what's going to come out on the other side. I mean, this is Smelvin just sort of... They've decided that they're going to live and die by this comp, but I think Elemental's looking out those doors ready for them to die.
All right. One more time, match point for Lunar Falcons. Smelvin on the defense, and it is the Sigma comp for Lunar Falcons rolling out of spawn. They prepared. They know what they want from it. Smelvin need something massive here from their playmakers. A little bit of spam, and there is Seed with a beautiful first pick onto the Baptiste, and just like that, Lunar Falcons, they'll be stalled after the first 30 seconds, gonna back off here.
I mean, yeah, being able to get that pick is massive to start things off, but there's still definitely more work to be done here. Celix, again, it's just going to be about taking positioning for the Sigma. The cart moving forward slowly just gives more and more room for these DPS to work.
All right, well, healing comes through for Jacob. Celix shoved back briefly. Going to look to keep this fight rolling, deny as much space for as long as possible. Celix just spamming, looking for the opportunity. The rock will not connect. Accretion goes wide. Celix just being harassed by these spears constantly by Jacob. Just a bit of a spam rock here from Celix. Looking for an opportunity, but nobody is dying here.
I mean, that was just a very weird push. I think they thought the Widow was there, but yeah, I mean, just overall spam, and now the Orbital
Wow.
Ray.
Yeah, Orbital Ray from Seb. That's going to be a lot of damage in from the torpedoes, and Mori with a beautiful headshot onto Elemento from afar to lock up this fight. Great start for Smelvin.
I mean, yeah, so far they've been playing well. I mean, Elemento and Zombie haven't been able to get anything done. That's going to be a lot harder to say, though, with a Gravitic Flux online, as well as some of these other tools to work with. I feel like these hit scan are about to go to town.
I mean, there are ultimates on the way for Lunar Falcons. Could get this job done here. Here's the first. Ant Matrix from Let's Be My Fan and Celix. Not even really needing the help from that Amp Matrix to find the pick, and it will be a couple picks coming through for Lunar Falcons, but Mori not done with y'all yet. Smelvin's not done with y'all yet! Robbie Hash popping the rally here, not gonna be able to stun the Sigma out of it, but will be able to get active on a set as Sigma. Inspire healing still coming through. The supports will not let this go, and now Jacob is back as well, has a Terra Surge ready to go, and they're going to be able to find Zombie. Elemento does find the pick onto Mori, and now picks coming through again, but so much time wasted and no space gained from Lunar Falcons.
They're finally going to get space gained here, potentially even another pick here as, yeah, Jacob having to just continue to run away here, but that was such a crazy fight off of just a rally investment. So now Smelvin has tons of tools as long as they're not getting their heads ripped through the Widow.
And here is the Orbital Ray, now Captive Sun as well, will connect onto a couple. Elemento finds a nice headshot there. They need to get rid of Izuya though. They will do just that. Mori does end up going down, but it's still 2 for 2. Zombie not finished here yet. Jump gonna come through. Celix claims the life of Seb on the point as it's just Jacob left, getting the healing from the pylon and the BAP, and it will finally be Lunar Falcons taking this point, but it was not without bloodshed.
I mean, that was very good play from Smelvin, but ultimately they just had to invest everything and not come up with as much as they would want to. Now, Lunar Falcons does have some good ultimates to keep this momentum rolling. The Overclock as well as another Gravitic Flux to potentially combo those ultimates together. Elemento realizing the Widowmaker, they're playing the angles too well, having to go over to the Tracer, but now a Winston in play for Jacob. Really going to change the tempo of this comp.
All right, well, looking for the opportunity. Do not want to keep that Sigma at arm's length like they want. Seed with the Tectonic Shock, the only ultimate for Smelvin Industries, will drop down and throw it in. Ant Matrix, or rather the Immortality Field is in, and it claims the life of Izuya Baptiste under duress, and Seed is proving us all wrong right now, closing that distance beautifully.
I mean, yeah, this venture pick, it's absolutely paying dividends right now. In Lunar Falcons, you know, on this composition that they practiced, they look so, you know, they were like, oh yeah, we can go here, we can absolutely do this. It does not look that well for them right now. I mean, they've been able to get through Burst Point, but now having to make some more adaptations. They're over to the Diva, as well as, I mean, this breakback backline. I feel like this is purely just because we have the Amplification Matrix. After that, you're probably going to see that swap over to Juno.
Elemento on this Tracer looking for the off angle, pressuring the point, but Seed is the first to fall. Jacob going to jump back, but the picks are coming through, and the point is just rolling right now, pretty much uncontested.
I mean, yeah, and now it's just going to be the matter of everybody running for their lives, trying to get out here. That D.Va's going to try to catch the Stoge, but luckily there's Peel in time, and I mean, that's crucial for Smelvin's defense. They're going to come into this. If they can wait a moment, they'll get both support ultimates, but Lunar Falcons are going to try to close this quick.
Yeah, this fight could be big, but the overclock in from Zombie, the Primal Rage, it's just being ripped to shreds, 95 HP, and somehow Jacob is able to live through that ultimate, and now the orbital rate down from Seb will just be kited in. If they could get Celis out of this mech right now, that would be massive, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be in the cards. 50 seconds now.
Yeah, all that ult investment for Smelvin to not come up with a single pick is tragic, because now they're trying to take space, and again, the monkey just caught out.
Yeah, a little bit too big on that hitbox there, buddy, to get through that gap. Need to get rid of this Baptiste, and will not be able to do so there, and now the point capture will come through one more time with 30 seconds left.
Yeah, but the further this moves, it's looking more and more difficult for Smelvin, because again, you have to think of what's going to happen on the other side of the coin in terms of that hit scan composition, because look at this, Elemental already back on it for a third point. Zombie pushing forward because, you know they can, right? Having the Sojourn inside, it makes you so incredibly deadly because you can simply position way out of line and slide back to safety whenever you need.
Well, a lot of pressure being invested in from Jacob. And he gets the Immortality Field out. Gonna find this a nice little spear onto Zombie. No kill, though, coming through. Mori from afar. Trying to keep that charge up, but just not being allowed to as they play from this low ground area. A little bit of charge now for Mori. Could find a target here to pop. Zombie found one of his own, though. Not much really happening here as the posturing continues now. We have Mori with a railgun and an overclock. A nice headshot there on the Elemento. Can they claim the life of this Widowmaker? The answer is no. Self-destruct invested in from Celix and will not find a kill there. Will get back into the mech easily as Smelvin Industries find nothing with the overclock. Now Zombie has one of his own. Seed has the tectonic shock. This fight just going forever here. Zombie going to pop his own overclock here. Gonna find a high shot there. Now tectonic shock in from this venture and going to claim the life of two there. Now 30 seconds left for Lunar Falcons.
And I mean, I'm so surprised, right? I feel like Lunar Falcons, they could have just ult dumped into that to win that one out, but, you know, ultimately they have been stopped at the corner for the time being. We're going to enter Final Fight territory. Another orbital ray here to keep Jacob nice and healthy throughout this Terra Surge is what I'm expecting, but with both support ults up for Lunar Falcons, I mean, all it takes is them getting one pick to get a lot more momentum.
All right, overtime begins for Lunar Falcons. Now the orbital ray going to get aggro is Jacob and will pull that Terra Surge. Going to find the Immortality Field, but Celix is so low and loses the mech early. Jacob trying to keep it rolling as Robbie Hash building ever closer to their own rally and going to be able to find this Baptiste eventually. A seed in the sky. Gets that one done, and now Robbie with the rally of his own. Gonna get rid of Elemento. And now, even though they stopped them at 57 on C, this is going to be an uphill battle because they've got to get this meterage done on a, generally worse composition.
Yeah, and so that's going to be my main concern, right? If they can get past point A, point B favors them a little bit more. It's going to force some adaptations and stuff like that. And point C is even doable with where that is, but point A is going to be the trickiest of this entire setup, right? You're going to see this double hit scan approach. But, I mean, I don't know. Smelvin's rotations were pretty good. They can just sort of rely on that to try to get them through, but they have to actually be able to find a pick because I promise there's going to be hit scan sitting on this high ground. There's going to be a lot of positions that this Lunar Falcon squad can take. Their initial defense, though, doesn't lean into the Sigma style. This could actually be a bit of a misstep for Lunar Falcons. I mean, maybe lacking confidence. You didn't see Elemental getting that many picks on the Widowmaker, but you're still running this double flex backline, which, sure, it gives you some very far away positioning opportunities where you don't have to be in the fight. But realistically, this cart lacks insane point pressure, so Smelvin Industries, now they might not have to take flame crowds. They could just stack themselves on cart and dare the defenders to approach them.
Could be good here for Smelvin Industries. The trump card not exactly going how Lunar Falcons thought it would. Objective now being pushed by Smelvin Industries as their attack begins. 4 minutes on the clock, as always. We get to poking because now Smelvin is the long-range composition. They are closer to the poke comp here now. Bit of a flank here from Seed, trying to find the spam with this smart gun. Not going to find a whole lot as Mori has this charge ready to roll. Could find a target here very soon. Looking for it, not taking it, but Zombie is. Initiative goes to Zombie, and without Seb, this fight going to be very difficult.
Yeah, no, and I mean, look at this. Lunar Falcons are already trying to clean it up. They're going to get these cleanup picks, which is super massive, burning more and more time off this clock, which is going to be their goal right now. But, you know, that's a beautiful first fight, and it comes off the back of Seb, you know, deciding to position in main, knowing Zombie's up on that high ground. It's just absolutely not where the Juno should be. You need to find some sort of positioning that takes advantage of that. Now over to the D.Va, trying to provide more of that defense matrix to try to heal people up. But I still worry that this is not going to be enough against that high ground that's being held.
Jacob looking for the opportunity. Seed very low, now going to get that pressure on it to the back line. I mean, Celix could lose out on the mech here. The supports are up there to help out, but Seed getting aggro as well, finding a little bit of damage, but no kills coming in from this venture just yet, not finding the same value that it did on the defense. Now, burrowing into that ground, and Jacob and Seed good for the ERE. Elemento gets the trade, but it's not going to be enough to put Lunar Falcons in a comfortable spot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Elemento gets both supports, actually.
Yeah, Celix using the self-destruct to get back into the mech here, and will do so comfortably. It's a 3 versus 2 here, and Jacob going to lose the mech. A massive misstep, letting Elemental just run rampant.
Yeah, because I was going to... and now it's even more cleanup. Oh, no. Yeah, I mean, it's just more cleanup in this situation here. It's going to be a reset for Smelvin Industries, but I was going to, you know, praise them, right? They were able to take the high ground. They were able to get the positioning, but just Elemento comes up clutch on the Tracer here to turn the tides of that fight. Now, you know, this defense is reestablished all over again.
Zombie! With a massive early pick, a first blood in this fight goes to Zombie again. And now Seed is so damn low, looking to try to escape here. Does get that job done. Zombie will return here very soon. Smelvin looking for something with this orbital ray as the captive sun comes out. Could be a target to eat it, but will not get that one done. Will pop that bubble, and Izia will just lose the pylon as a result. Zombie with the overclock, not going to find an easy target here. That shield, too much to deal with from the rally. Now Ant Matrix in from Let's Be My Fan is the answer. Going to come from this overclock. 0.00 meters here for Smelvin Industries. Jacob getting back into mech here eventually with the self-destruct. Gets rid of the pylon, but no more. 40 seconds on the clock. They are in dire straits.
I mean, they just threw everything in. That was every single ultimate. Obviously, both squads had that level of investment, but Elemento has another pulse bomb here, and you're going to be in final fight situation here unless Smelvin can get it done. This pulse bomb from Elemento could be the sealing factor here to send Lunar Falcons to that championship and win it.
Celix with a beautifully timed touch there. 0.01 meters separated Smelvin from a cap. Now 10 seconds remain. There will be a very simple touch here for the side of Smelvin. Pulse bomb is out, does not find a target, so no ultimates on either side here for this final fight of A. But Elemento in the back line with the pick on the Seb. There is a trade though. Izia does end up falling. Celix will lose the mech, but Zombie finds a pick. Elemento absolutely looking to go ham, but the picks are through and Smelvin Industries are not.
I mean, you want to talk about the skin of your teeth. Trading back lines when you lose Seb first is criminal. The fact that Smelvin had any opportunity to win that fight after that point is crazy. I mean, Elemento's doing such crazy work on this Tracer. Somebody on Smelvin, whether it's Jacob, Mori, or C, somebody has to be turning to try to help these supports because they are under fire, under harassment by a Tracer that's just going absolutely feral right now.
Celix's turn. Going up here onto the top of the silos. Now Tectonic Shock in from this venture. Seed finding some damage out, and the Immortality Field invested. Self-destruct from Jacob. It's going to be a pinch maneuver here, but Seed is claimed. Need to find anything here in this fight for Smelvin Industries, but they just cannot. The Pilot Diva will claim the life of Ezia, but that is just never going to be enough.
I mean, yeah, that was so all in for Smelvin, but they don't come up with anything. Now look at this. Lunar Falcons have all 5 ultimates with a minute to go. As long as they don't overinvest into one of these defenses, they're going to have plenty of tools to carry them through the rest of this map. And Elemental, again, positioning for what could be a beautiful Pulse Bomb.
They do not know. Pulse Bomb is out, and Robbie Hash claimed, almost killing Seb. Now, this has to be a disengage so that Smelvin can take a proper fight.
And again, you know, it's coming down to this high pressure, high intensity situation still. 4 other amazing ultimates, including this, you know, Captive Sun, the Amp Matrix, everything in the kitchen sink for Lunar Falcons here. Smelvin Industries, time starting to dwindle. They have to figure it out.
A lot of massive ultimates in the hands of Smelvin Industries, though, as well, coming up on 3 massive game changers. Orbital Ray, Rally, Overclock. Rally, the first to be used. And there is the Captive Sun, but they are not done. Izuya getting chased down, getting taken down. 30 seconds on the clock. Celix needs to live here. And the self-destruct going to come through to get back into mech, and it kills Robbie Hash! Elemento, no rally in, or recall in sight, rather. Now Orbital Ray down to be the dagger if they can get this done. Celix gonna lose the mech here eventually. The healing comes through. Amp Matrix from the high ground. They need to get rid of Celix right here, right now, and they do. Immortality Field invested, as well as the self-destruct on the high ground. And one more time, ice in the veins of Smelvin Industries. They're gonna cap B. They only need 57.6 more meters.
I don't want to jinx them, but I think Smelvin, after those first 3 maps, have finally found their X factor. Both of these fights in overtime, desperate situations where they lose somebody to unfortunate situations. Ultimately, they're still in the map. Looking at ultimates, you're going to have another Pulse Bomb from Elemento, and then you're going to have Seed getting closer to a Tectonic Shock. Otherwise, no ultimates to speak of. Everybody throwing everything into these fights, making it so freaking chaotic. Just wanting to watch here as we're heading towards this payload, continuing to move to that golden box.
One more fight. Pulse Bomb will connect onto the shield of Robbie Hash. Will not lose out, but Seb goes down. Elemento is traded, though. So as Seb comes back from spawn, which will be very, very soon, Smelvin Industries need 10 meters. Now 7 meters to go. Elemento getting very low. Now Seed with the Tectonic Shock claims Ezia 1 meters, 0.7 meters. Lunar Falcons fall. Smelvin Industries bang their chest. They're not out of this fight yet. They take a second in a row.
I'm at a loss for words. Their clutch factor was gone. It was just I'm just speechless. They go onto a map where they are not comfortable, right? We know Lunar Falcons has this pocket strat. They dismantle the pocket strat. They make Lunar Falcons stumble and realize we don't know what we're actually doing here. We have to figure something else out. They're swapping, they're flailing a little bit, and then still Smelvin, again, having to clutch it at the end of the day, finding those picks in overtime fights, but they get the job done. It doesn't matter how pretty it was, because you're still alive.
Smelvin, not out of this fight yet. They have the experience, they have the talent, they have the ability to win this series still yet. Lunar Falcons, though, still on match point. And, I mean, for the rest of this series, for the next 2 maps, even if Smelvin wins this next one, they have the map selection here. For Smelvin.
Not only that.
Go ahead.
Not only that, we've reset the map pool, right? We've gone through all 5 map sets, so they get to go anywhere back in the game, as long as it's not a map we've already played, obviously. But to have that level of agency here is massive for Lunar Falcons, but, you know, after losing 2 maps, there's that little voice in the back of your head that starts whispering. If you're Lunar Falcons, you got to ignore that voice, because I know what it's saying. It's saying they got 2 maps already. They're building momentum. They're starting to get, you know, figure out our compositions. You got to tune that out. You still have 3 maps on the board. You're still the one with all the agency at match point. But, you know, Smelvin, this resurgence is exactly what the doctor ordered.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I think a lot of this resurgence, as you called it, comes off the back of the backline adaptations, because the Bap Lucio was just not the move. It was not the move for Smelvin early. It got them close, but it could not get them over the edge. And Juno is still as good as she always has been. The Juno Brig, I still think, is the premier backline in Overwatch right now, whether these teams are playing it or not. And now that Smelvin has got Seb on the Juno, Robbie on the Brig, which was actually reversed on Esperanza, where Seb was on the Brig, Robbie was on the Juno. Now they look so much more comfortable and confident on this back line. So much healing for Jacob, whether it's the Orisa or the D.Va, right? This backline adaptation, I think, is one of the big factors that has got Smelvin back in this game.
Yeah, and it's exactly what they need to do. You know, it's one of the things you have to be able to have that mental resilience, the ability to bounce back. And, you know, even in situations that look overwhelming, realize that there's still an opportunity that we can still do what we needed to do here. But, you know, as we're just sort of going through waiting, it seems like the call has been made for Push to be the next map up. And we're going to Runasapi here. Very interesting map. We saw a lot of it in the Malga meta because it goes back and forth in a very interesting way with, you know, meterage, right? I mean, there's so many times we look to clutch moments where people are coming back from 100-meter things, like we saw the side of Lunar Falcons do on Esperanza, being able to come back from deficits like that. Unheard of on other push maps, but on Runasapi, it's commonplace. This really is a map that's not going to be over until the final moments.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be a very, very interesting map here, right? Runasapi, I feel like, is a map you could do a lot on. Lunar Falcons are probably going over to their D.Va. I don't expect them to change much there. Smelvin Industries on the other side, you've got to keep that backline intact. And just, it's like, you've got to, I'm curious what they're going to play, right? Because it's either the D.Va or the Orisa. And the Orisa has kind of been shaky at times. It's looked good at times, right? So on Runasapi, I mean, you've got to play it smart, right? You don't have anything to give. You had a big lead on Esperanza. You lost it. That was an over 100-meter lead that Smelvin had on Esperanza. So now, as we head in here, Lunar Falcons are actually going to be swapping up their lineup far more than just the one DPS that they've been doing. They're bringing Terry Tiddick into the lineup here, as well as Otters. So clearly they think that something has got to change for them heading into these final potential 2 maps.
I think this is going to be mirroring the Orisa, if I had to just guess, right? You know, we saw immediately from the onset that, you know, with their other tank in Lunar Falcons, they wanted to play this D.Va a lot more, even the Sigma and things like that. They just weren't as comfortable on the Orisa, which, you know, natural, right? You have, sort of with the Overwatch 2, the way things have been, you have a dive tank and you have a brawl tank. You don't let them overlap unless they really are feeling themselves on the day here. So this is sort of acknowledging that you're going to have to win this in a brawl mirror here, especially with Otters coming back in. That being said, though, you know, while, sure, you came away with that last map if you were Smelvin Industries, we saw what Elemento was doing to that backline. And while Elemento's not in, I'm sure that those same thoughts are ringing true in the rest of Lunar Falcon's head. This backline is exploitable. We can find them. Otter's already hovering the Genji, showing that sort of mindset. Obviously going to be a Sim TP out, a little bit of a lie, but then it'll be the Genji, I promise.
All right. Well, both of these teams believing that this backline is the answer to the prayers here. Nothing much surprising on either side. Otters going back over to the Genji now. We will see as we meet in the center of Runasapi. Jacob on the Orisa matching Swines or Terry. But we will just have to see the aggression from Seed in, immediately drilling out, getting that shield up, and getting the life that they so desperately needed to keep there. Zombie very, very low. Gets a little bit aggro now, healing coming through, the burrow coming in from Seed, but Zombie will be the first to fall here. Swines having to press that joystick backwards way more than they would have liked the Otters. A great pick, but it just won't be enough.
Won't be enough, and the meter is just going to start moving for Smelvin here. That late pick on the Otters is actually going to make sure that they get seeds back in time, so that way it's an even fight instead of having to give up a lot of this pressure, which is going to be good for Smelvin. They're, you know, again, a very neutral fight that you're going to be heading into here for both teams, but looking into it, I have an odd feeling that you're probably, again, going to see these DPS try to focus down on support to see if they can find either Seb or Azuya out of position.
All right, getting very, very close to this checkpoint. Lunar Falcons really don't want to let that happen, but it seems like Smelvin are going to force that issue. They will get the checkpoint, they will unlock close spawns, and they will find the pick onto Swines. Smelvin Industry, they are unrelenting here on Runasapi.
Unrelenting for sure, but again, the late pick actually massive here for gaining even more meterage. But like I said, Runasapi is known for the comebacks, and Lunar Falcons did this earlier, so don't count anything out just yet. Look at this next fight at face value. You're going to have pretty much every ultimate online here. The rallies are going to be the only thing lacking, and Seb already popped.
Yeah, here is the orbital ray, and Swines just yanked right back into the fight. Everyone got a piece of that Orisa, and now Smelvin Industries crossed the 90-meter mark with only just less than 8 minutes.
Yeah, but I mean, look at what they had to invest both the orbital ray and that Terra Surge, now having to throw in the overclock on top.
Having to do nothing. I mean, they are just doing this with ease. They cross 110. Mori with 2 picks. They are happy to invest when they're finding this much value.
Exactly, and so now it's going to be investment for Lunar Falcons in their own spawn room here, just to sort of make sure they make it out in time, I'm sure. But yep, the overclock to start it.
Here is the rally from Robbie Hash to try and answer. There is the Terra Surge going to claim Robbie Hash's life, and it will be a fight win for Lunar Falcons, but it was not without a massive investment.
Yeah, and that massive investment is absolutely tragic. Otter's now heading back into the spawn room, seemingly to make a swap. It'll be interesting to see what that swap ends up being over to. Yeah, the Tracer, they're going to try to replicate the success Elemento was having, where they're finding pressure onto this backline time. And again, 138 meters to 0. It looks daunting right now for Lunar Falcons, but, you know, again, this map is anything but over until that bot really is capped.
All right, well... The ult advantage certainly in the hands of Lunar Falcons with both of their support ultimates ready to go here. We're going to see the first one there in the rally. Now Tectonic Shock in from Seed. Looking for a target, but Swine is just absolutely alone, utterly. And, I mean, taken down there as Jacob continues to find massive value.
And, you know, you hate to highlight a player like this in these worst times with Swines. I mean, being subbed in on map 6 of a grand finals, you haven't, you know, potentially had the best warm-up in the world. You're coming in late, things like that. And, you know, you're not going to look like the best, especially when they're just like, yeah, go mirror Orisa against somebody who's been playing it all day. Like, you really are being caught off guard and being out of position.
All right, well, now orbital ray down from said Ezio has one of their own, but the damage from the orbital, or rather the Terra Surge, going to be, you know, too much to ignore fully. Now the orbital ray called in from Ezio will be a hard disengage here from the side of Smelvin. Well, maybe not as much as I would have imagined, but now it's just die on bot and take some people with you, I guess. Beautiful there from Smelvin as they find 3 picks late.
They find 3 picks late, and they're able to sort of keep this chaotic fight going here. Now, a Terra Surge investment from Lunar.
Yeah, Swines is gonna fall here. The pulse bomb out onto Seb. Otters has to use the recall. Gonna be able to actually drop Robbie Hash as well, but that is so much time wasted for Lunar.
Yeah, we've gone through half the time bank that Esperanza provides now. We've gone through 5 minutes, so we're on the back half of it now. And Otters, you know, great picks onto the back line, but you got to be able to do that more consistently here. That's probably going to be the best keys to success that Lunar Falcons can have.
Now it's Smelvin with the ultimate advantage. Zombie only carrying that overclock right now. Seed building up to this Tectonic Shock, and we're going to see 2 invested here. There's the overclock, and just immediately shut up by Seed with the Tectonic Shock. Zombie, not even a chance to find a pick there.
And I think that's one of the key shifts with Smelvin starting this reverse sweep that we really didn't cover, is Zombie on those first 3 maps was lights out, just absolutely deadlifting Lunar Falcons through some of these clutch fights. And I think the amount of pressure and respect that Smelvin has adapted and given over to Zombie time and again, it really shows that they are like mentally adapting in the moment to realize that their opponent is not somebody they can underestimate.
4 minutes on the clock now. Clock is ticking for Lunar. They are still down 138 meters as the bumper cars begins over by the bot. Otters trying to build up to this pulse bomb, trying to find some kind of pick if possible, but Zombie will do just that, starting this fight out with a pick onto Moray. Now Otters looking for Seb rally out from Let's Be My Fan. It may not have even been necessary, but it does end up getting the job done.
Yeah, I mean, just one ultimate like that, I mean, that's not the worst investment you could make. But Otters, like, again, you see it there, right? If you can just keep going to the back line, like, no offense, Seb is not positioning in the best places in the world. You can find this Juno time and again and really punish them for how they're having to play to keep the rest of Smelvin Industries healthy. That being said, you have a pretty fair exchange of ultimates that's coming up, especially looking at these orbital rays to be difference makers.
Well, there's Pulse Bomb. It's going to find a little bit of tick damage, but not going to kill. Zombie, though, will start off with one of his own. Otters getting that healing rolling, looking for Jacob here. But Jacob and Seeds are just absolutely going ballistic right now, and they are retaining this Lunar Falcons push 2 zeros across the board.
Yeah, and so now, I mean, Smelvin Industries just going to be able to push forward once again here. No ultimates really came out on either side of that fight, though, besides the pulse bomb. So still going to be pretty even in terms of how much can be invested for both teams here. But Smelvin Industries, I mean, you're still chilling in the driver's seat. You don't have to throw all too much into these fights. It's Lunar Falcons who has to stop you.
Ults abound for both of these teams. Seed under a lot of duress here. The Terra Surge going to claim Mori. Unfortunately, Jacobs will only claim Let's Be My Fan. Needed to be bigger if it wanted to keep Smelvin in that fight. Bumper cars will lead it to a Swine's victory, and that one as Zombie cleans it up. But Lunar Falcons now, they need to get something going on their half of the map.
Yeah, I mean, the sooner the better, right? And you got a good trade there. You were able to invest both orbital rays and the trade of Terror Surges as well here. Zombie, you know, been having a little bit of trouble being under fire when these overclocks come out, so maybe the rest of the team can provide an extra little bit of healing, sustain, to make sure this goes off without a hitch.
Fight taking place before the close spawns are denied for Smelvin. Now gonna pop the Tectonic Shock in here for Seed. Gonna throw it in, gonna find one, and Let's Be My Fan just goes absolutely flying, and Seed is not done with you yet. 3 to the dome.
I mean, they saw the venture there. Like, did the call out just not come through? Was there a fight happening somewhere else that the rest of the team just couldn't turn to try to punish the venture? I mean, they really are just underestimating Seeds and allowing these Tectonic Shocks to get the value onto the backline time and again.
Swines over to the Diva, overclocks out from either side. Pulse Bomb from Otter's not going to find the target there, but Swines just immediately dealt with through that mech, and now with 45 seconds on the clock and Swine down and dead in spawn, 2 meters separates Smelvin from a completion. There's going to be a touch from these squishies, but will that be enough? Rally from Let's Be My Fan comes in. Zombie does end up finding something as Seed goes in on to this Sojourn, and with just the Diva left on the point for Lunar Falcons. Okay, they are finding these picks late, so now with 20 seconds on the clock, they need another miracle. They have to go 144.79 meters if they want to win this map and win the championship.
I mean, I'm no mathematician, but you're looking at pretty much a single strand of hair away from a full cap. I mean, absolutely crazy situation. They've been in this place before, though. No ultimates to speak of for either team. You're closer to an orbital ray on the side of Lunar Falcons, but now with Jacob over to the Zarya here, I mean, you know, this is sort of a counterpick to the Diva since you realize you're going to be in an overtime fight the entire time.
Smelvin, one fight separated from a map number 7, and Zombie is the first victim. Jacob on this Zarya now, able to follow up on that damage now. Seed going in hard, and Otters receives a shot to the chest. Seed not going to get a chance to use
that tectonic shock, and Seb will go down, so the ultimate advantage still in the hands of Smelvin, as Lunar Falcons will finally begin their push.
I don't like this, Fletch. I've seen this before. I feel like, that was, again, Smelvin up 2 picks in that fight, but the Orbital Ray was just enough to turn the tides there. Now, Smelvin, they still have tons of tools. I mean, look at what they're coming up on, right? They have pretty much every ult but grab online that's going to be going into a Pulse Bomb and maybe a Rally. Surely if Smelvin finds a way to not clutch up this fight, they deserve to lose.
All right. 4 ultimates in the hands of Smelvin Industries. They need a play made here, and the Orbital Ray is the start. Tectonic Shock down, stunned by the Brig. Pulse Bomb out, but again, Seed is able to take it down. This Brig Rally be damned, and Smelvin Industries, 3 to the dome, 3 in a row. We're going to a map number 7 for the championship in CGL.
I mean, the reverse sweep is real. It has officially been manifested. Now, 1 map away. We've tied the score up. Lunar Falcons, losing out a little bit. I mean, a bit, I understand, you wanted to play Rush, but you had your, Lunar Falcons picked the map. They picked putting Swines in there, and I'm not, trying to fault Swines or anything like that, but you haven't been playing the brush all day long. Why opt into it now this late in the series? Smelvin probably greeted that with open arms, and it showed with a dominant Runasapi there, and I'm just baffled.
Big question marks here for this game. Lunar Falcons, hot start, but I mean, Smelvin is on fire right now. They are on a tear. They are not done. They want this win. And for now, we are going to cut it to one final break. When we come back, our champion will be crowned after a 7th map in this epic of a series. One map separates one of these teams from a championship here in the EU Console Open tier for CGL Season 14. Lunar started out hot. They were flying high after the first 3 maps on match point after just as many. Now Smelvin bringing it back from the brink. 3 in a row themselves. A map number 7 ahead of us. Lunar Falcons map selection for the final map of the series. It's going to be Dorado.
And I think this is like Runasapi was the ego, the hubris of Lunar Falcon saying, guys, we could play brawl into these guys. We know what we're doing. We can out brawl them. And they quickly got proven wrong. There's just no other words for it. So now stray away from that. Go back to what you were super good on early on in the series, right? Controlling high grounds with the Diva, Elemento on the Tracer, and just, win out that way. It's much safer, and it's much more Lunar Falcon style. Plus, this is going to, again, take Smelvin out of that comfort zone where they're not going to be able to rely on their brawl comps, right? Orisa, unless you want to take 18 years on some rotations, you're going to be forced to match the Diva and potentially some other picks here. But like you said, we've gone 6 maps. This is the end of the series one way or another, unless we somehow get the rare but real draw on Escort. Somebody's walking out of this map a champion.
And it seems like somebody is having a little bit of issues in the lobby. I can't really tell what's happening. Somebody's phone is dead. I'm not really sure how that factors into this series, into the game. But okay, so it's a hand cam problem. Somebody forgot to charge their phone, and now they could be cheating. But yeah, I mean, this is such a. I mean, there isn't a more important map than this one, right? For Smelvin, it has always been the next map that they played, right? 3 in a row. The next one is always going to be the most important. Now, I mean, for both of these teams, they have never played in one singular map that has meant more, right? This is such a, like, the weight of the world is on both of these teams right now to get this win. And I want to see how they're going to respond to this pressure so badly.
I'm taking a trip down memory lane. I've casted so many Smelvin matches, both with you, with other people here in CGL. For this season in particular, what I remember the most about Smelvin was when they won the midseason. It was in 7 maps. And do you know what our final map was in that series, Fletch? I believe
it was only 5 maps.
Oh, 5 maps. You're right. You know what I meant. 5 maps. Yeah. But do you know what the final map was? I know this for a fact. It was
Dorado.
It was Dorado. And when I tell you, granted, a different squad at the time, budget approved was who they were up against that time. When I tell you it was chaos incarnate, you saw the only way to describe it was primal Overwatch. You had 10 players in the lobby, each of them trying to drag it over the line. Everybody desperate to claim the crown for their team, to be the hero that their team needed when they needed it. And it reduced the game to an absolutely chaotic fest. And I don't know if that's exactly the level of chaos we're going to get here, but I would not be surprised by it. Because again, this whole season is built to this. Lunar Falcons, the Youngbloods, 8-0 regular season. But when it came to these playoff performance situations, they could never actually get it done. Smelvin Industries, on the other hand, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. They've been here. They've done this. They don't want to become Philadelphia Fusion 7.0 at this point with how many teams have taken that mantle. Second place is failure for Smelvin. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, really, for both these teams. But it just means so much to them. And Lunar Falcons now is standing in their way in what is going to be an intense and insane final map.
This game started 2.5 hours ago. Absolute gruel of a match thus far. It has not been an easy one to get through for either of these teams, right? They're tired. But that's when you've got to be at your best, right? You cannot allow yourselves to break down just because you've been playing for a long time. I've seen it so many times, right? Where teams get into these situations, they draw it out, but they just lose steam because they're tired. That cannot be allowed to happen as we get ready to head into map number 7 here. Elemento coming into the lineup, as well as Celix one final time. Nothing changing, of course, for Smelvin Industries. This map is for everything.
It's for everything. And again, I'm expecting that chaos, that fire behind these two teams in terms of the compositions and things like that. We're probably expecting both tanks to rock out the Diva. That's been sort of the dive tank of choice. We have seen a little bit of Winston, but ultimately Diva will just remain the queen. She's just so powerful with that defense matrix and things of the like here. And we're actually getting the full mirror. We've got the Juno Brig backlines, check. We've got the Sojourns, check. I lied about the full mirror, though, because Seed, of course, needs to start on this venture, right? Just definitely been more comfortable on it. But Elemento, I think back to that Havana. I'm sure Lunar Falcons is also thinking on that Havana, right? They had 2 different opportunities to end that in overtime situations where they could have just won out the series then and there. But now Elemento having to put on even a better performance than they did then, because right now, this is the map worth all the marbles.
$1,500 on the line for the winner, a championship in CGL Season 14. We go here. Jacob drops down to the low ground on the defense to try and put the pressure on to Celix, who bails back to the team. Mori on the far side high ground looking for the poke damage with this Viper. Goes in the dynamite, going to land it onto 1 or 2 players there. Not ultimately going to mean a whole hell of a lot there for the moment, though. Is that healing just going to come through? Now, the engagement coming in from Seed as the Diva gets booped down. Seed cannot engage any further than they would have liked there. Now, Jacob still trying to face tank all of this damage, pressure on the point, but nothing going here. 3 minutes on the clock, and Let's Be My Fan is the first casualty in this final map. And Zombie will meet them here very, very briefly as Jacob cleans up a couple.
Yeah, and so finally this first fight taking a minute, but ultimately going to go the way of the defense here. Lunar Falcons, they got caught in a little bit of a corner there, unable to break out because of the spam damage that the Ashe Venture combo can provide here. So, you know, Lunar Falcons, they have to try to take these fights a little bit more in the open. Their composition benefits from it just a little bit more as long as they're not getting poked out too hard by Mori on the Ashe.
All right, a minute and a half off the clock, 90 seconds drained. Jacob with the self-destruct ready to go. Celix not even 50% to theirs, and Mori with the pick onto Ezia. There is the self-destruct. Jacob does not get back into mech, but it is still a heavy numbers advantage for Smelvin Industries as Seed gonna clean up Zombie.
Yeah, the cleanup here, and again, like, sure, you got the pick onto Jacob here. Potentially a D-Mech coming through. Oh, being able to remove Celix, because now that Baby Diva is just going to have to sit there. And as well as another one onto Elemento. I mean, this defense looking strong right now for Smelvin, but they've got more work to do. Tons of ultimates to their name. It's going to be mirrored on the other side by, again, a bank of ultimates that's been sort of stacked and built up here. But, you know, again, Mori on this high ground can just do so much more than Zombie. It's such good positioning for these hit scan to continue to rein in damage, and shooting from the low ground, it just feels so unbelievably difficult.
Right, Mori with the Bob ready to roll. Elemento's Pulse Bomb will not find a target, though. Getting ready to throw this Bob in here as Rally comes in from Let's Be My Fan. There is Bob coming in. Tectonic Shock from Seed has been so good with them over the last couple of maps. Will not find one this time as it's just a kite for now.
Yeah, both teams trading out their DPS ultimates and their rallies. Now just orbital rays to work with. Obviously, the Diva Bomb for Celix, but you're never going to see that used aggressively here. Now with only a minute on the clock, you got to see these orbital rays come out soon.
All right. Well, Seb going to be the one to call it down first. Ezia following very, very shortly after. Self-destruct to get Selix back into the mech here, as it will be Lunar Falcons that are going to be able to push with their orbital ray. But Jacob with the self-destruct ready to go. More than happy to just chase down this Sojourn in the Pilot Diva form. And Lunar Falcons, they have found nothing.
I mean, I feel like they expected a free win here. I feel like Dive was the name of their game, but Smelvin, they've adapted, they've overcome, and now with only 30 seconds left in this attack, Lunar Falcons, you know, no ults either side here. This is going to really be a raw fight back and forth for somebody to find the advantage.
10 seconds now. Zombie taking some shots there from Mori. Not confident to peek, though. Zombie dropping down to the low ground, dropping down to the point. Get overtime begun. Rally getting very, very close for Let's Be My Fan, as well as the overclock and pulse bomb for the DPS line. However, Bob and Tectonic Shock on the verge for Smelvin Industries. Tectonic Shock ready to go, ready to roll. Pops it out here, gonna look for the damage, gonna find the damage. Selix has the self-destruct, will get it off. Nothing claimed by that venture. Elemento and Zombie building up to their own ultimates as well. Mori has Bob. Pulse Bomb in the hands of Elemento, looking for the stick, will get it down, but Bob has entered the fray, and Robbie Hash has found the trade. Robbie Hash for 2 late in the fight, and they get them off the point. They only need 66 meters, and they are the champions.
I mean, that's a dominant hold. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? Being able to just hold that high ground in such an aggressive manner, and it's just so unbelievably difficult for Lunar Falcons. You know, you found the lead early on, you found other opportunities, but now having to hold only 66 meters. The upside, you just saw how it was done. Granted, you probably don't have that same level of venture prowess, but it is a replicatable offense here, even with your own hero picks, right? We know how good this high ground can be. Smelvin, if they celebrate too early, could definitely find themselves victim of a little bit of a trap here, as this is anything but guaranteed.
Very, very possible to hold this. It is not easy, though. Smelvin Industries, they know what they have. They know what they need to get to. It's 66.63 meters. And Smelvin Industries can crown themselves as the champion. Lunar Falcons have a massive, massive job ahead of them if they want to do the same. This is not going to be an easy defense at all. Nothing changing on either side, though, except for Zombie on the Ash.
Yeah, I mean, you mirror the Ash, right? The Ash can just do a little bit more than the Sojourn here. Again, that high ground, you know, you are allowed to take your time, take those shots time and again here. But Elemento needs to find that success they were finding on Havana. This backline needs to feel under pressure at all times. But already, you saw right there, Elemento was just sent running for the hills at the hands of the Diva.
Selix getting very, very aggressive there, trying to keep control of that red building high ground, but just nothing going, and so much damage just being bursted in from Jacob, and Smelvin is already halfway to their goal. Jacob getting dove on by Selix on the opposite high ground now. Engagement in here onto the brig. Jacob will lose the mech, and Lunar Falcons will breathe as they have won the first fight.
It's mistakes like that you know, can cost Smelvin here, right? Like I said, this is not a guarantee by any stretch of the imagination. You have to respect what is going on the other side of your screen. Jacob, you know, just simply going in too deep there in a very foolish way ends up costing themselves the mech and their life, as now the attack has to find a new stabilization.
Headed into the next one. 3 minutes now on the clock. Only a minute is bled. Selix, ooh, very, very lucky to escape there. The booster's good. Has the self-destruct ready to go. Jacob getting aggressive on the back side. Selix trying to keep this other Diva in check right now. You see, pushing forward, and Jacob with a early pick on to the Juno. Izuya falls. Self-destruct from Selix will get them back into the mech, however. Now, 55 meters. Let's Be My Fan falls, and because Selix got back into the mech, it will be Mori. The rally actually invested by Robbie Hash. Pulse Bomb will be avoided by the same. now trying to keep this fight rolling, but Smelvin will not be able to.
And again, Smelvin, like they feel so close that they're starting to make these little slip-ups, these little mistakes, and they're being capitalized on. Lunar Falcons, they know that they can play patient here because that's their only opportunity, is to play patient with so little meterage. Smelvin, you know, if they keep making mistakes like this, their time bank's just going to drain away before their very eyes.
Minute 40 now. 100 seconds from the end of this map, potentially. 3 ultimates in the hands of Smelvin Industries, 2 for Lunar Falcons. Celix looking to get aggressive here. 5 meters separates this game from completion, but Seb will not get the opportunity to use the orbital ray. Jacob getting knocked out of the mech, but the self-destruct will assure a remech briefly after. Robbie Hash getting very, very overcommitted there. Goes down in the middle of a smorgasbord and will be the end of this fight. Still 2 ults in the hand, but it's getting very, very close.
I mean, it's close on both sides of this, right? I mean, it's going to be mirrored orbital rays. You're going to have a Diva Bomb for Celix, so that's going to be a remech potential here. Obviously, the big thing to look at is the Tectonic Shock. Everybody's forced to stay on the cart with how close it is to the end. You can try to punish members for that as the orbital rays are coming out.
Orbital Ray called upon by both Izia and Seb, and there's the Tectonic Shock! So much damage! 2 claimed by the torpedoes, and the Tectonic Shock finds another Elemento with the Pulse Bomb, but Smelvin Industries have done it! Losers no more! They are the Season 14 champions!
The reverse sweep to end all reverse sweeps here. It looked desolate after that map number 3. Their clutch factor was at a 0. You know, I have an odd feeling on the other side of this coin, Lunar Falcons are going to remember that Havana game more than any, because there was 2 separate opportunities. They were up, they had the advantage, they had everything they needed, and they just couldn't get it done. Smelvin, they found what they needed in the end. Their adaptations were there. And like you said, second place no more. Finally, a championship here in CGL to their name. Absolutely amazing for them and just incredible play.
Couldn't ask for more. Could not ask for more from Smelvin, from this series. Champions, finally. Smelvin Industries, they are no longer the perennial top 4, top 3 team, right? For so long, they've been gatekept and held at bay, but no more. Smelvin is the champion. But for now, we are going to cut it to a short break. When we return, we will have a representative from Smelvin Industries to talk to us about what happened in this series and what their plans are moving forward. So stick around for that. All right, welcome back, everybody. We have representatives of our champion, Smelvin Industries, Jacob and Big Nan. Y'all complete what was an incredibly grueling reverse sweep. I just have to know. I think I kind of know the answer, but I want it from y'all. How are y'all feeling right now?
Oh man, I didn't even play a map and I'm gassed. I got
just run me my money. Run me my money.
Yeah, exactly. Give me my money.
Give me my money. Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. It was interesting.
I mean, interesting. Certainly a word for it. I mean, you know, let's address how this started. Right, 3 close maps, but you lose all 3.
Yeah.
I mean, just really, what is the thought process? What happens in comms there after map number 3?
The mental was very bad. I'll be honest. The mental was, yeah.
Yeah, I just said, put me on the arrestor and let me take space. Let Venture carry. I said, if any of you die to a random Sojourn shot, I'm leaving the game. And then it died to a random Sojourn shot.
Okay, yeah. I mean, listen, that Sojourn zombie was going a little bit crazy on y'all, but you know, being able to rein it back in, slowly get it going. We noticed that obviously you guys ended up playing a lot of this Venture style, right? Where even when you had to adapt over to the Diva, you kept the Venture in play for the most part, right? Is that just sort of Seed's comfort pick, or is this something you actually just practiced and you thought, you know what, this is just the best we can run?
Yeah, it's a comfort pick. Poke is by far the best Venture, and I feel like we know that he can do a lot, even though the character isn't, you know, Tracer level. But we just trust him that much on that character that it's just, we just let him play it.
Also, our Tracer player, who we normally have, Elliot, he is currently on a date, so
so we have to adapt on the go.
Yeah, I did tell him, like, can you not just tell her at CGL finals? Do you understand? But apparently not. Apparently not.
Yeah, but I mean, Now, I'm curious. Y'all said that the mental was really, really bad after the first 3 maps. What was big that changed and gave y'all that much momentum going in and after New Junk City? Like, y'all just looked like an entirely different team after New Junk City.
I think
what happened?
I think it hit everyone that if they lost, it was over. And after we won the first map, everyone was like laughing and joking again, and that's what our team thrives off. Everyone's always so like, everyone bounces off each other well. And yeah,
I'd also say like when we started using our ults properly, I think the only reason we lost the first 3 maps, I would say we won the neutral in every map, but we just lost our ult fights. Like for example, when we used Nano on King's Row, I was not a happy bunny. But we actually started using our ults properly, and then I don't even know if it was like a mental switch. I think it was just like we actually started playing normal, and then we won.
I mean,
right. I mean, what an incredible series to get to be a part of here. Now, Jacob, Nan, as we get ready to head out here, is there anything, Mega? Do you have something you want to say before I?
No, I mean just congrats. I know how long Smelvin's been here in CGL to finally add that trophy to the case. I know, obviously, probably feels amazing. You guys really, you worked hard. Yeah. You absolutely deserved it. Maybe not the cleanest regular season. Clean that up next time. I expect better from you. See, we expect things from you now. You guys have won. We have to actually have expectations on y'all. So I'm gonna step it up.
I'm not saying it for certain, but this might be Smelvin Industries retirement.
Oh, well, never mind. We're not expecting anything.
I'm not saying it for sure, but I don't think some of the people who are on the team now will be on there next season if it exists. So.
Also, Smelvin Goats coming up.
Smelvin Goats. Actually, yeah, maybe we might stay for one more tournament.
We'll get another CGL ring. I'll leave with 3 on my fingers, and then I'm out of it.
All right. Well, now as we get ready to send y'all away to go celebrate, count the bills. Jacob, Big Dan, is there anything y'all want to bring up that maybe we didn't, or any shout-outs that you'd like to make?
Our coach, Josh Dunn, really did help a lot.
Yeah.
Like every map in the group chat on Twitter, Josh was just there, like giving us the best motivation.
For example, in the first 3 maps, he wasn't even there, and then he joined our call in the last 3 maps or last 4 maps, and we won all 4. So I would say Josh Dunn's probably the difference maker there.
Yeah. Shout out to Josh Dunn, and also Tobbs as well. He's always like best person to have in your ear when it comes to like these situations. It's just always so intense, and Tobbs just brings it to us. I don't know.
Yeah, the calming voice.
Yeah.
Also, shout out UOQO.
Yeah, UOQO. A couple more shout outs. Cammy72, Jot Dave, Donut.
No, not Jot Dave.
Wavy RR, Pokoni. Everyone. Shout out everyone who supported us in this.
Other than Galaxy, yeah. He's an evil little man.
Hey, listen. I think you can shout him out because you just beat him.
No, that's even worse. Just let him. Leave the corner.
Jacob, shout out to Jake. Shout out to Galaxy for giving me a grand.
Yeah, cheers Galaxy for the money, buddy. Cheers for the money.
Yeah,
I'll see you later.
Right. Well, yeah. So one more time, congratulations to y'all and Smelvin Industries on getting that chip. Go celebrate it, y'all.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, guys. Well, Smelvin Industries, they did it 4 in a row to close out the season. What a magnificent series it was, but it's not the only one on today. Oh, I guess we're gonna get a. I'm getting juked by my producer.
You're going to schedule.
I'm getting juked by my producer. Going to schedule. Yeah, it's not the only one today. I'm getting juked by big T-Tar fan 600 versus Squirt Squad coming up tonight, and that is
3 hours.
In about 3 hours. So keep an eye on the notifications for that one. But now we will get a look at our final updated bracket for Season 14 in the console open tier. Smelvin Industries rock through the upper bracket, win the grand finals. Was not easy. It was never given to them on the silver platter, but they took it regardless.
you know, only the strong teams can weather the storm. They can bounce back from anything. And Smelvin, they've stood the test of time. So their strength hopefully proven here, because like they said, maybe this was sort of a farewell, a parting gift from them one final time, and they got their chip at the end of the day. Absolutely massive for them. You gotta love CGL, you know, it's absolutely great, absolutely amazing. And in case you were so sad with the season winding down, don't worry, there's more CGL in the future, like this lovely GOATS tournament we have coming up on the first week of January. So make sure you sign up, get all your friends, including our first ever South America brackets, because, you know, we're going to have South America inclusion starting with our next season. That's going to be super, super hype. So yeah, make sure you tell all your friends, come play some GOATS. Who doesn't love 6v6?
Yep. No. Could not agree more. Love GOATS. Always fun to watch. But now, one final thing on the docket for the night, and that is our Grand Finals MVP for Season 14. It's going to be SeedSap DAP 95, venture player for Smelvin Industries. There was a lot of back and forth. Me and Mega disagreed on this for a lot of our break time where we were discussing our MVP picks. We had the likes of Seb and Robbie Hash also up there for contention because of the incredible job that they did. I mean, bailing on the BAP Lucio composition in favor of the more premier Juno Brig obviously saved the game, but SeedSap in the last 4 maps of this series absolutely went ballistic on the Venture. After, you know, quiet first few maps, Seed just took over on the Venture.
Doing exactly what a Venture does best, burrowing into the backline, popping up, getting a kill, and then just being able to walk away all with a cheery smile on their face. Absolutely love it. And, you know, it's, again, just some really good gameplay here. On a pick that you're not seeing as often on the meta, we questioned it throughout the series of if the Venture comp was going to work here, but I think me and Fletch can both say we were proven wrong with that reverse sweep more than anything, being able to come up in the clutch here. So Seed, you get the MVP. Absolutely amazing. It doesn't come with anything. This was just something that we asked to be added, and then Tippy was like, oh yeah, I guess I can, if you really want to. But yeah, just overall, amazing.
Yep. Nice little pat on the back there. And even better than the pat on the back is the $1,500 Smelvin Industry just earned for winning this tournament. Of course, Falcons, as the second place team, they do not go home empty-handed. They get a nice little $5 there, $500 for them. But yeah, an incredible season from both of these teams. Smelvin Industries, though, capping it out with the most clutch performance that I have personally ever seen in a first of 4. Reverse sweep, Smelvin Industries are the champions for EU Console Open in CGL Season 14. And if it is goodbye for Smelvin Industries, what a hell of a note to go out on. Thank you all for watching, and we will see y'all in the grand finals tonight as well in the North American region. Have a good night, y'all.